Punching Up, a Nintendo podcast, is brought to you by you. If you want to learn how to support our show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Punching Up, your bi-weekly Nintendo podcast from Last Stand Media. I'm here. We got the full crew. Let's kick it off. Gene, let's kick it off with you because I love that Zelda shirt. And I don't know if you'll be there with us because I don't know exactly when you're going to get into New York, but maybe at the Nintendo store. Maybe we can be twins if they still have it. But
Yeah,
how are you this morning?
Yeah. Well, I'm coming in to New York Saturday afternoon, so I don't know. Hold up, guys.
Yeah, we'll have to figure that out because I know Saturday evening we're going to try to do like a staff dinner.
Oh, right.
But I know like Brad's getting in Friday and we got to go to Nintendo. So maybe we can figure that out for Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, why is Brad coming on a Friday? Is everyone else coming on a Friday? Am I just coming in late?
I don't know. You'll have to ask Ben about that. But Brad is coming in Friday. I know. And Dagan, welcome to the show. Of course, you're coming in hot on Sunday.
I am. I'm coming in Sunday morning.
Wow.
I promised I'd wait for my mom, who's coming up from Virginia to Pennsylvania, and then we're going to kind of make the trek together from PA too.
Oh, I'm going to meet you. I'm going to see your mom again. Great.
Yeah.
Nice.
My mom's going to be in the house. My dad. I think PJ will be there. The whole New York contingent should be in effect. Yeah.
Wow.
Be exciting.
Nice. Yeah, it's going to be awesome. I'm excited to have us all together, including Mama Micah. Hello. How are you this morning?
Hello, I'm doing well. I like this idea that Dagan, in the absence of Helene being your plus one, that PJ is just ready in the wings, as it were. And that's what it's all about, having a best friend. You got to have someone that can potentially stand in for a spouse at times even. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Now, Micah, you guys are getting in Saturday as well. So maybe, Do you know, like, is it going to be in the morning? Like, would you be able to hit the Nintendo store with us?
Yeah, I think our flight is not getting to New York until maybe around 4 or 5. So because we're not getting there super early by any means. So depending on what time we're planning dinner and how I don't know what to expect of the city in terms of traffic and such. I've only been in New York like twice in my life. So I don't know if it's something that I'll be able to participate in or not. But maybe Gene and I will have our own adventure while you and Brad go on Friday, and then Gene and I will go to our own Nintendo store, and it's really just a back alley and we get mugged or something.
Yeah.
You know what the bigger question is? Can you get Colin up to 30 Rock-ish? I always call that area 30 Rock because everything's in the same. That's where the tree is and everything like that, right by the Nintendo store. Can you get Colin to the Nintendo store? That would be something to film.
Yeah, I have my doubts, but I am so naive about New York. I didn't know that's where it was. I'm like, it's like where Tina Fey works. You're telling me I'm going to be there? That's where we're going?
Radio City, it's all right there. American Girl, Micah, if you're an American Girl. Yeah, it's all there.
Yeah, I used to love those, the creepy dolls that are like the size of you. It's like a boa you know how boa constrictors like size you up, like they lay in bed next to you? That's what the American Girl dolls when I was a child, they're like 3 feet tall and they're the same size as you, and you put that thing next to you and it's a little weird. It's a little weird. It's like it's sizing you up. It's gonna eat you in the middle of the night just like a snake.
Yeah, you gotta be careful. I mean, that's kind of like the original anime waifu pillow, but for little girls, right? Do they make? I guess they're American Girl dolls because that would be funny if there was like a boy. Because surely there's boys and girls, right?
Oh, there's got to be boys.
I don't think. Well, when I was a kid, it was a whole series of books. Each book had a doll. They were only girls. I don't know if they ever have branched out and are like, now we have a doll that's a boy. I'm pretty sure they made one that's like in a wheelchair. Like they branched out in terms of like representation. But I don't know if it's still strictly just dolls that are girls. I don't know.
You know what they have there? They have an American Girl doll salon. So you can kind of get made up with your doll. And the creepiest, American Girl doll hospital.
Oh, okay.
Just like straight up ER for the American Girl. You got a broken American, you bring it in. It's an emergency.
I hate it. Gene, that's where we're going. You and me, bud. We're going to go to the American Girl store. I can't remember the name of my favorite one. It was something, had glasses or something. She was a nerd. I liked that one the best. We're going to go to the American Girl store, Gene.
I'm going to have so much to talk about there.
So yeah, we are all anxiously awaiting. This weekend is our live show, Sacred 300. If you're listening to this on Patreon, there are no tickets left. You might be able to, I know there's some people in our Discord and maybe on Twitter, that if you are interested in going, you might be able to find someone that is unable to go that has a ticket, but it will be recorded, so we'll have that all sorted out so people will be able to see it. But this show's not really about that. This show is Punching Up, which is a Nintendo podcast that we do here, and we're supported through patreon.com/laststandmedia, where thousands, it's crazy, thousands of you go and support us there. We appreciate it very, very much. And if you do support us there, you get early access to this show, Sacred Symbols, Constellation, all, Defining Duke, Summon Sign. It's all there at patreon.com/laststandmedia. So if you enjoy this, please check us out there. And of course, if you don't want to, that's fine too. But another way you can help us out, give us a like, a rating, leave a comment, whatever. All of that helps us out. And we really, really do appreciate it. Guys, let's just get right into the news today. And we had a little bit of a Nintendo celebration day just recently. It felt so there's this Mario Day that happens on March 10th, right? And it's, MAR10. I feel like it's a little forced to me. These companies, they're like, oh, we can create a day and everyone can celebrate and buy our shit. And, I try not to be cynical, but it feels a little forced. But we got some news on this day. We got a little presentation from our boy Miyamoto-san discussing some new stuff for the future of Mario. So let's go ahead. I'll go through these announcements and then I have a few questions so we can talk about them.
Sweet.
So here's the mini Mario Direct, whatever you want to call it. First of all, Lego Mario Kart sets are coming in 2025. And there's a brief little teaser. I'm sure these are going to sell insanely well. Then we're getting some more backwards compatible Nintendo Switch Online games with the Game Boy Dr. Mario, Game Boy Color Mario Golf, and the Game Boy Color Tennis. And those are available right now. Those are kind of the little appetizer for these three big announcements. First of all, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD is coming out June 27th. Paper Mario, The Thousand Year Door, the remake, is coming out May 23rd. And then last but not least, we not only got this in the Direct, but we got the infamous tweet that begins with, "This is Miyamoto," to proclaim a new Super Mario Bros. Movie is in production. And they already got a release date for it, April 3rd, 2026. So this is not a surprise at all. Of course, with the success of the original Mario Brothers movie, a quick sequel was basically locked in, I think, before the movie even came out. But let's go to some of our listeners here to discuss things a little bit. First let's go to Kasdan Risk, who says, "Hey, Brickfisters, Nintendo has announced a sequel to the Super Mario Bros. Movie, and I'm curious what you're hoping to see. An adventure with Yoshi, the Koopalings? Does Tom Holland voice Yoshi? Well, who would voice each Koopaling? Who would voice a Bowser Jr.? Interested to hear your thoughts. Take care." So let's go around. What are our hopes, dreams, or maybe you feel nothing at all about a Mario movie? Dagan, I'll throw this to you first as our animation expert on the show. About your thoughts about this sequel.
Oh, God help us. Yeah, first of all, my first thought was, boo, no Zelda movie, right? What are we going to get next for the NCU? But a sequel to the Mario movie makes sense, right? You want to cash in.
We do have the live action Zelda, but it doesn't feel it's hard to even acknowledge that, in my opinion. I just don't have good feelings around that.
I know. I hear you on that. But continuing the momentum and success of Mario, it's a no-brainer, right? It's going to be a Mario movie. And there's a lot of different ways to go. I feel like just don't do a Nintendo multiverse thing unless it's going to be very Smash centric. But outside of that, I mean, I remembered a few things. I mean, it was cool to see the kind of mashup with Chris Meledandri from Illumination, you know, the principal figurehead over there at Illumination, the way he was tossing it back and forth with Miyamoto during that brief exchange. And I think Aaron Horvath is back to direct the sequel, so they got the same guy directing. I always get him confused with David Horvath, who created the Ugly Doll. Aaron Horvath and David Horvath are two different people. So I mean, it's exciting. There's a lot of characters, but you know what I forgot about? I forgot about the post-credit sequence of the original film. You know, they're definitely setting something up for Yosh. And so it's going to be something along those lines. And I mean, I'm excited. Part of my game segment today will have to do with this, so I don't want to say too much. But I mean, it's really interesting. I have to watch the original movie a third time to really let it soak in and wash over me. But where do we go? I mean, is it Yoshi? Do we see Daisy pop up? Rosa is certainly a candidate, right? If they want to kind of grow it and add a couple of new characters and cash in on that excitement. But it's a couple of years out. What is it exactly? Almost exactly 2 years from now. So they're going to be hard at work. And you know what's funny, Dusto? You say about March 10th every year. And it must be a lot of pressure for Nintendo because sometimes, you know, it depends on the year. Some springs are bigger than others in terms of newsworthy stuff that they could put out. So this one did feel a little shoehorned, like let's shoehorn some excitement in there. So leading off with the movie made sense. And but this is a long wait. 2 years goes quick nowadays, but you know, we're a couple of years out from seeing what they cook up.
Yeah, it's surprising to me. Just I'm always thinking about, you know, we're always talking about game developments and stuff like that. So when I saw this release date, I was like, man, that feels quick. But then I remembered movies are not like games. They don't take they don't always take 4 or 5, 6+ years to make. And so it's surprising in some way in that it's surprising and not surprising in that I kind of was curious if they were going to go like a different direction, like have a Donkey Kong movie since they've kind of established him in the first film. But the safest bet is a direct sequel, like right off the bat. So, Gina, I'll throw this to you. I think that when we discussed the Mario movie months ago at this point, I think we all agreed that it was pleasantly safe for what we expected from Nintendo and Illumination. And so, I don't know, do you think that they could take it a few steps further, do something a little either different or maybe go into some of the expanded Mario lore? Not necessarily like deep lore, but you know what I mean? Like, how can they incorporate other games and, you know, maybe there's like a galaxy scene where he's flying around, something like that. What do you think?
I feel like they're going to be teasing Mario Galaxy sooner or later because they already did an Easter egg reference in the first movie, where Princess Peach was like, "There's so many galaxies out there,"
right?
You know.
Oh yeah.
But maybe that'll be for their movie. That'll be like this franchise's Shadow the Hedgehog. Because you know, Super Mario Galaxy, it's like that old Yahtzee review. Like, you know, where do you go after Super Mario Galaxy? You know, it's like Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Galaxy. You know,
mm-hmm.
Is that where you go next? I don't know. In terms of what they're going to do in the movie, I'm not going to hold out hope that it's going to be like a more artistic movie and a quieter, more interesting movie or anything like that. You know, Dagan pointed out that Chris, what's his face?
Meledandri.
What's his name?
Chris Meledandri.
Yeah, but he's like the studio like CEO. You know,
yeah.
like it doesn't fill me with hope that an artistic endeavor is being announced by the CEO of the company. You know.
Yeah, he's a founder, but I don't think he's like a chief creative necessarily.
Exactly. Yeah. So
yeah, he's not
it just doesn't fill me with a lot of hope that this is going to be a movie that's going to be about that's not going to be about making money for first and foremost. You know.
Yeah, I don't know why he's the audience facing dude over there because I actually know people that are very congenial and charismatic that work there that are certainly lower down the trough, but definitely creative and definitely charismatic enough to be, to talk about the film in a creative way. So it is interesting. I almost want to say that he kind of demands that. Like he's like, I'm going to be the guy, the public facing dude, I'm going to be I'm going to be the Miyamoto of Illumination. And so it's a weird look.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, Micah, I know that you weren't, or I don't know if you had seen the Mario movie, but this is a time, I mean, anything's possible, of course, on the horizon. This could be Waluigi's moment. He can't get in Smash, but I could see, maybe not, I could see Wario maybe showing up in one of these at some point. What do you think, Waluigi?
Yeah, I have resisted seeing the Mario movie for this
seen
long.
It? What?
I mean, no, I haven't
It's on
seen
Netflix.
it.
Is
Is it on
Netflix?
anything?
Okay.
It is, yeah.
Wow.
Okay. So here's the thing: I got then 2 years to watch it at this point to get caught up. So maybe it's at some point I will. But my hope for the Mario movie is that I'm dead before it comes out, obviously. But it would be cool. It's like, yeah, have Wario, Waluigi. They have great villains in Mario. So throw them in. They're wacky. They're zany, not too scary for kids. It's like, it's Mario upside down. It's funny. So no, do something like that. Yeah, put them, bring Rosalina, something for the dads out there. All right, a little bit of sex appeal. So I'm all about
dads.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, really, though, you got to throw them something, The question from our reader, though, the voice acting, it's like, well, would you have Tom Holland voice Yoshi? I just love the Tom Holland effect of like pretty much any role you have. It's like, let's throw in Tom Holland. It's like, what about Howie Mandel? All right.
Oh, of Toonland fame.
Let's appeal to the youth of today. It's like, it's the guy from Bobby's World. You all remember that. And all these kids that weren't even alive. They don't even know who Howie Mandel is because Deal or No Deal isn't on anymore. So, appeal to me as a child. That's what I need from this movie. That's what I'm hoping to get. Should I be alive when it comes out? Mark this down, everybody, because we're going to find out when the movie comes out. And then you guys will be doing the podcast and there'll just be the empty ghost chair over here.
Is Deal or No Deal on the air anymore? It's gone?
I think they had Deal or No Deal Island, but I don't think it was Howie Mandel doing it. I saw the commercial for it and I said, not only is this the dumbest thing ever that they're on an island like Survivor style, but I don't even think it was Howie Mandel.
Yeah, one of my girlfriends was one of the suitcase girls on Deal or Not Deal.
Oh, you're kidding me?
Yeah.
That's wild.
One of the models or whatever. Yeah.
He's got a weekly podcast with his daughter that I understand is getting pretty big. He's pretty good. He has a pretty good show on, I guess it's all the podcast services, but especially YouTube. Mike, I'm very proud of you for.
I was wondering why her selfies with Howie Mandel stopped. So.
Oh,
we gotta get a picture of this. This is amazing. I was like, God, when was that? I used to have such a crush on those girls in that show. I was way too old to already have crushes on TV girls, but I did. I was definitely well into my 20s when that show was.
That's what the TV girls are there for. That's what they're there
the
for.
whole thing.
Yeah.
Hey, I was wondering, like, are there kids now? They're like, oh, Howie Mandel, the podcaster. And you're like, skipping Deal or No Deal, skipping
Conan
Bobby's
O'Brien,
World.
podcaster. Oh my goodness.
Bobby's World. God, what else did he do? He had a talk show on television years ago as well, didn't he? I want to say he did. And one thing
Bobby's
we know about
World?
this,
Holy shit, man. I haven't thought about Bobby's World in forever.
Bobby's World was so sick. That opening sequence was so beautifully done. I think the next Mario movie we do know, one thing we could be sure of, it's going to be AI.
Wow, Bobby's World.
Dude, and the way that I knew
Howie Mandel was Bobby?
Yeah, he did the voice.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Okay.
He was also in this game. I'll send you guys the cover. This is a game I played. The first video game I think I ever played. Toonland, starring Howie Mandel.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
Seventh level.
God, dude. Oh, we got to put a picture. You know what? Also, I think Bobby, Michael, am I right about this? Bobby was a character he did in his stand-up. And it became like a thing. And then he kind of segued it and pitched it as an animated show. And they were like, yeah, let's do it.
I didn't know that, actually. I watched the show as a child. My mom loved it because she loved Howie Mandel. And so she'd be like, hey, Bobby's World is on. And I think she was more excited than we were about it. It'd be like, it's on. Everybody shut up. But I honestly didn't know much about, like, this picture of Howie Mandel with hair. I don't think I've ever seen him with hair. That's kind of throwing me for a loop.
That's a different Howie Mandel. Famous.
This is a completely no little soul patch. Like, who the hell is this guy?
Who is this?
Wow.
This is not my Howie Mandel, but apparently it is.
I think we got to
Actually,
lock
you know
in.
what? That is the Howie Mandel I remember. I'm old enough to remember that Howie Mandel. Holy
I
shit.
do remember.
That's crazy.
I think we got to lock in Howie Mandel for.
I didn't know
Super
they're
Mario
the same
Bros. 2.
person. I did not know that face is the same person that turned into the deal or not deal guy. That's crazy.
It is like two different people, though. You're
Yeah.
right. It really is.
All right, guys.
Which is a
let's
great
talk
thing, you know. If you live a life that feels like two different lives, that's a great gift, you know.
All right, let's hop into these game announcements here. And starting off with just a little question, and then we can talk about the release dates. Pen and Pan says, what up, crew? Do y'all find it weird that Nintendo announced the release dates of two first-party titles on social media and on a Sunday, even though it was Mario Day? See, I think this is like what Dagan was saying, that they had to have something to talk about, not necessarily huge, but to me, what this speaks of was what we talked about a few weeks ago, that maybe they were saving these for a direct that they decided to hold off on because they wanted to talk about Switch 2 or whatever. And so they thought, wow, these will slot in here. Great. And honestly, I mean, release dates are exciting. They're big news, but they're not, you know, it's not as big as a game announcement. So Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, June 27th. Paper Mario, The Thousand Year Door, May 23rd. Micah, I wanted to ask you, because I know you had shown interest about Paper Mario, The Thousand Year Door after enjoying Super Mario RPG. And that's, I believe, Gene, you might remember, Paper Mario was originally called Super Mario RPG in Japan. It was like considered to be more of or Paper Mario RPG. So it was very much meant to be part of that lineage. So, Micah, is this one on May 23rd going to pique your interest?
Oh, absolutely. This is exciting to me because I wasn't really expecting it to come out so soon. So to not have to wait as long, fantastic. I'm all about that. I agree, though, that you kind of shoehorn these in, but when you look at the other announcements and they're all things, you know, the things that are far away, the Lego sets, not till 2025, which I forgot what year it was for a second. I was like, that's 2 years from now. Like, don't even bother announcing it. And then I remembered it's actually 2024, and I hate it. And then the Mario movie not coming out till 2026. So it is one of those, you can't have an all announcements that are just all things that are far away. I mean, you got to give people something crispy to, you know, bite right into that's coming up quickly. You know, aside from what you mentioned with the GameCube, Game Boy and GameCube games coming out, you know, on the online service, it's like, give us something fresh, like give us something new. So even though and technically these aren't even new, are they? They're remakes. So, you know, Nintendo, they didn't have a lot. They didn't have a lot to give us, and I think this is the best they could do. I'm still excited, but when you really like look at it, it's like, oh, we got things that are not even close to coming out, and then old games. But I'm excited because they're new to me. These are all new to me, so this is fine.
A game that is not new to me and that I've known about it forever, but Luigi's Mansion, this is a total dark spot for me that I played some of the original on GameCube, and now there's a trilogy of these games. So, Gene, I wanted to ask you, am I missing out on Luigi's Mansion? And I know in particular that second one is supposed to be pretty damn good, and so now it'll be released.
The third one is still better.
Third one's best?
Still better.
I never played that.
This is, actually, no. You know what? The second one has its own charms, though, because here's the thing about the third one. It is bigger, but it is only one hotel. The cool thing about Luigi's Mansion 2 is that it is actually 5 different mansions. They do some more interesting things with the actual like mansion layouts versus in Luigi's Mansion 3 it's one big tower, and in each floor of the hotel of Luigi's Mansion 3, which is just one mansion, They just go crazy with each floor, but they don't really do anything with like interesting with like the architecture, and I don't know if you remember Luigi's Mansion in GameCube, like, it just really felt you're just going room to room, and just that feeling of actually finishing a house can be pretty satisfying versus finishing the entire hotel. Has anyone else here played the series? Touch it?
Just Dark Moon.
Just two?
Oh, you've touched Dark Moon. Okay.
Yeah, my son had it on DS, so I picked it up, and I don't know if I got all the way through, but I spent some pretty good time with it. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. And Luigi's Mansion 3, it's the best-selling Switch game, the game that's outsold most Sony PlayStation exclusives.
That's insane.
With Gooigi, right?
Yeah, with Gooigi, the Gooigi aspect was interesting because you have to use him as a kind of like a mirror partner, so you send them off into the other side, and then you and Gooigi have to like coordinate like your movements or whatever. It's crazy.
I think one of the E3s I went to, there was a giant Luigi's Mansion 3
Gooigi, yeah.
thing. Well, there was a giant Gooigi, but they had like a whole like booth set up, but the getting in was like really tough. Like you had to be on the app and stuff like that. So I didn't get to do it. But Dag, I want to ask you, I mean, if you want to talk Luigi's Mansion, Paper Mario, whatever, but how do you feel about these, Dr. Mario, Mario Golf, and Tennis? Isn't one of these is like an RPG, right? I think it's Mario Golf on Game Boy Color.
I didn't even know that. Is it really?
One of them is like pretty extensive.
Oh, that sounds cool.
But yeah, take this any way you want.
Yeah, I have to
I think it's the
investigate
GBA
further
one.
into that. That's interesting. Paper Mario, I have to be honest, I have to familiarize myself more with that entire franchise. That's a blank spot for me, but one I feel like I'm missing out on just because the aesthetic is so adorable and inventive. I love that. The thing I wanted to posit to you guys was Luigi's Mansion 2 or Dark Moon, however you know it. That was only 2013, right? So I understand with Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door, that's a 20-year anniversary, deserves a proper ground up HD remake. I think it's going to be wonderful. But the other game's just barely, 10, 11 years old. Is it too early for that game to see, kind of a reintroduction? Like has enough time passed? We have to let the heart grow fonder, right? Like, I think this one might feel a little contrived, as far, it's a great game. I really
in the
do
era
like
of
that.
Last of Us remakes coming in like 2-3 years after The Last of Us came out already.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's a really good
we
point.
already have a Last of Us Part 2 remastered. So this is just HD remastered Luigi's Mansion 2.
Yeah.
And again, Luigi's Mansion 2 has sold more than The Last of Us Part 2.
Which is incredible. Yeah. And it makes sense to introduce. They
need to make Last of Us Part 2 remastered to boost sales for Last of Us Part 2, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand all that. And then there's a tie-in with television stuff. I wonder if they're sort of thrusting Luigi forward for something. You know what I mean? Like they're kind of positioning him for, something else as like a domino effect type thing. I don't know. I mean, honestly, I'm probably being a little unfair with that. It's enough time to reintroduce a new generation to a game that's really cool because really essentially it just mashes up the Mario universe and Ghostbusters. And that's a pretty sick conceit. Like that, just conceptually, that's a lot of fun. And then the way you play it and capitalizing on Luigi's personality, which is that he's a scaredy cat, right? It's pretty adorable.
Yeah, I'm curious about this. You mentioned this is a 3DS game, and the original Luigi's Mansion was remade for the 3DS, and now we're getting the 3DS Luigi's Mansion 2 over to Switch. It feels like a missed opportunity to do like a double pack.
It would have been nice.
But,
yeah, I was just thinking that. Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. It's like Nintendo doesn't want to give us too much. They're like, here's this. Here's a 3DS game. It's going to cost more than it did originally when it came out because it's for Switch. And take that, enjoy it. So I would never ask too much of Nintendo, but it does feel like a missed opportunity since now you have the collection is incomplete for the Switch. But
yeah. I remember playing Luigi's Mansion 1 alongside Silent Hill, the original Silent Hill games, because that's what they both came out around the same time. And
I remember
again,
that.
Luigi's Mansion outselling the Silent Hill series too. Luigi's
I believe
Mansion, the number one horror game series of all time.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it was a bold move that Nintendo made that one of their launch games for the GameCube. I remember so I wasn't really I was into Nintendo, but I was locked off to just kind of having one platform at the time when I was a kid. So like GameCube was out. But I remember I was like, man, there's no Mario for the new GameCube yet, which eventually they did, but launching with Luigi's Mansion. So
that was huge, man. It looked better than anything I've ever seen.
The door shot with the hand, where Luigi's like opening the door and stuff.
Yeah, that was a money shot, man. That was crazy. It still looks good.
Mm-hmm.
That and really Resident Evil Remake. Those are two games that still look fantastic. On the GameCube.
So that's about it for our MAR10 day news. But
speaking of The Last of Us, like Mario Day reminds me of The Last of Us Day. That's it. Last of Us Day is another. I don't mean to like rag on The Last of Us right now, but The Last of Us Day is another day that just feels completely forced. Like, who wants to celebrate The Last of Us Day?
Yeah, it seems like an odd thing to celebrate.
Yeah, I mean, just hearing the words "The Last of Us Day" sounds fucking ridiculous, dude. Mario Day, okay, fine, Mario, woo, it's a Wahoo guy,
I think there's another shoehorned one. It's Mass Effect with N7 Day.
N7 Day, God.
Does Gears have one for like Emergence Day? Maybe.
No, there's no Gears fandom anymore. Sadly.
Gears fandom dead. Damn.
Yeah, actually, it was. I was just gonna say it was the Last of Us show where there's one episode. I think it's the episode about Bill, and the date pops up on the screen, and I'm like, "That's the day my grandpa died."
Oh no!
And I remember watching it the whole time, being like, "Oh my god, this is literally the day that Grandpa died, and this is like when the show is starting." So no Last of Us Day, no thanks.
On the year too, or just the calendar day?
The show was the show set in 2003?
No, I'm trying to remember. I think because they change it a little bit for the show, where I want to say it's like 2007. Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Might be right.
It's been a while. We only watched it like the episodes through once, but I can't remember if it was the exact day or if it was like year or if it was just like, wait, that's the day Grandpa died, like the anniversary of it. If it was set in 2003, it was the exact day.
Dude, that would be freaky. So yeah, Mario Day, lots of stuff to look forward to. Check it out if you haven't. Those that preview. Make sure you see the tweet. This is Miyamoto. That commands respect when you see the tweet. This is Miyamoto. Moving on, guys, to number 2. The British Academy of Film and Television Arts, or of course known as the BAFTA Awards, have announced nominees for their 2024 awards, and the Nintendo nominees include Best Game, Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom, and competing once again against itself with Super Mario Bros. Wonder. And Tears of the Kingdom was also nominated in 5 additional categories, being Audio Achievement, Game Design, Music, Narrative, and Technical Achievement. Mario Wonder is also nominated for Family, Animation, and Multiplayer. One last little footnote here. Tears of the Kingdom won Famitsu's Game of the Year as well.
Wow.
So yeah, the awards, we're deep into 2024 now in March, but the awards keep stacking on for Tears of the Kingdom, and I also like seeing Mario Wonder in here. And I was like, man, I'm glad it was nominated in that animation category because it's very well deserved. But also seeing Tears in the technical achievement, I think that's something that can't be, or it shouldn't be understated. That we joke a lot about the sneaky switch and stuff and how games are underperform on the platform, but it's really amazing when you see Nintendo, who obviously knows the hardware better than anyone, is able to create this insane physics engine and the ability to build things in the game, and it just somehow works. Cannot be understated. Just because it's not 4K ray tracing or whatever. The technical achievement is there. So, Gene, you're wearing the Zelda shirt today. So I don't know if you have anything else you want to say about Tears of the Kingdom just continuing to get its flowers.
Yeah, just happy to see it. And I think it's a good reminder that Tears of the Kingdom was actually a really good game. We should do a spoiler cast sometime, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
seriously.
I feel like that ship has sailed, but
Yeah,
I feel like that ship has
Ida,
sailed
I
because
feel like-
I've already forgotten a lot of things that happened in Tears of the Kingdom.
It's
You
been a
just
while.
play it again. It's a really short game, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, very
Yeah.
short. Yeah, exactly.
That makes me nervous.
maybe if we get the 60 FPS Switch 2 update or something, surely I can't imagine them not doing something with
Yeah.
that when Switch 2 comes
I
out.
agree.
But Dig, what do you think about these awards in particular? I mentioned you're the animation expert, but Mario Wonder getting that animation just through like the whole time when I was playing that game, I was like, man, you can feel the care and attention. And I think there was the quote we talked about where they really felt like they needed to up the animation because of the Mario movie, where they're like, we gotta look as good or at least comparable to the movie. So
yeah, that's a great point, Dust. I mean, with Tears, it's such an impressive game. It's not surprising to see the accolades and people pouring out praise for it. So that seems to be a given. And you guys make an excellent point. I think when we see the next iteration of Tears on the Switch 2 or whatever, Super Switch, that might be the opportunity for us to say, all right, now we could go back and cover this game, do a spoiler cast, whatever, do a 3-hour episode gushing on it or whatever. Because I guess we did kind of miss the boat on it. So just in a more timely, maybe we cash in as soon as the opportunity presents itself. And Wonder, man, it's so cool. I think there's going to be a lot of people kind of questioning putting Tears and Wonder in the same category or putting them up for the same awards and stuff. But I doubled down on the fact they're very different games. And Wonder is so awesome because it's so colorful. The presentation is so beautifully realized, and the animation really is gorgeous. Like, it moves in such a fluid way. The art direction is great. The creative direction is so consistent as it always is with Nintendo. And it really feels like, a lot of people were criticizing, like, it doesn't really feel like a mainline Nintendo game. It's kind of a 1.5 or something, And the whole 2.5D thing, I think, gets sort of the short shrift sometimes because it seems like a lower budget thing than a huge, like a Mario Odyssey like undertaking. But it was so beautifully done, and I think it came along at a perfect time too, where we had Tears, and that's a very distinctive world and a little more Ghibli-esque and the fantasy thing, and then to have a colorful Mario, vibrant, colorful Mario. It's playful, it's cartoony. I think those two games really complement each other. It's almost like a cool. Those two games make me feel like that's the 2023 Nintendo that I'll remember, is those two games being front and center. It'll be down to those two titles.
Nintendo has a history of having to compete against itself in awards, particularly Mario and Zelda, back to Breath of the Wild and Mario Odyssey both being nominated at the same time, coming out in the same year. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens. But of course, if you haven't played Tears of the Kingdom or Mario Wonder yet, it's amazing that, and I guess this makes sense historically for a console, but some of the absolute best games on the platform coming in at the tail end. Micah, I have a write-in here, or not a write-in, a news story just for you, just because I know you don't necessarily have much on Mario Wonder or Zelda, but this one is pretty exciting for the weebs out there. That is, Persona 6 could come to Switch 2 at launch. We'll see, though. Okay, so getting into this, Twitter user, let's see if I can get this right, MBKKSSTBHZ5, who is known recently as being a very reliable Atlas and Sega leaker on Twitter, was responding to a clip from Spawnwave. And in this Spawnwave clip, it had him and Nate the Hate, another YouTuber, was leaking information that Persona 6 would come to Xbox. And so this long Twitter user, and we'll just call this user MBK. MBK jumps in and responds and says, it is correct information and multiple platforms too. So then a user follows up to that tweet and says, does that include the Switch too? And MBK responds, yes. So not necessarily a lot of information, but the information that's there is very interesting in that Persona historically, for basically the life of the series, I want to say, outside of spin-offs, has launched exclusively on PlayStation. Recently, that's been broken open a little bit more with Xbox coming in, putting Persona 3 Reload on Game Pass, putting Persona 3, 4, and 5 on Game Pass, and also some of these Persona games coming to Switch as well. In fact, all of them, all the mainline ones, except for Reload currently, are on Nintendo Switch, but there are rumors about Reload coming eventually. So to hear about Persona 6, which is, a highly anticipated game, potentially launching on Switch 2. And Mike, I know you recently played Persona 3 Portable on the Switch. How do you feel about Persona 6 maybe being ready to go? No delay on Switch 2.
Yeah, I would be thrilled for that because I have to admit I was a little disappointed that Reload wasn't coming to Switch, but I don't think it would have run well at all. It just seeing some, we're going to get into this later, but the Princess Peach Showtime demo told me that there's no way in hell Reload is going to run well on Switch. Like, oh my God. So, and Portable, Persona 3 Portable was a fantastic way to play the game. That worked really well. It's more essentially like visual novel adventure style in the menus that you go through. Instead of, navigating the town like in real time, you just kind of like go between locations and, explore that way. The dungeon itself worked pretty fine. There were some issues where it would the screen would stutter a bit. But overall, it was a great experience, aside from really long load times. But yeah, if this was coming to Switch 2, that's my ideal place to play. Any of these long JRPGs, especially being able to take this with you to the airport, being able to take this with you, to family gathering. Let's say something like a Super Bowl party. I'm not saying to ignore your family and play games, but something like a Super Bowl party and the teams that are on you don't care about. These are excuses to play Switch for an hour in front of people. And so that's my ideal way to play, especially these games that are, 60, 80, 100-hour experiences. Handheld is the way to go, being able to just switch between, I'm downstairs in the living room, Colin wants to go upstairs and watch TV, I can go right along with him and just still play my game. So I love anything Persona related at this point. I've played 3 Portable, 4 Golden on Vita, and 5 on PlayStation. So any Persona news that comes up, I'm interested. If I'm able to play it on Switch, that would be phenomenal. Because it is still, part of me wants to go play Reload. Part of me says this game is way too long to play again so soon. But with it being Persona, there are so many different options in how you play, which social links you get and everything. It would feel like a new experience if I chose it to be, or I could make all the same decisions I did the first time and really just play the same game over again. But yeah, this is incredible if true. I'd be all over that. I want to support these games on Switch and hopefully continue to show them that there's interest in Persona on Switch and getting these various games that come out, Persona 5 like Tactica and Persona 5 Strikers, for example, buying both of those. I definitely am the person who is trying to vote with their wallet and continue to say, give us all the Persona stuff over here because I will play it for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely, since the beginning of Switch and Persona games in particular, you mentioned Persona 4 Golden, people love those games portably. And I think Reload is one that has had rumors about it coming over to Switch or Switch 2 when it's finally available. But it'll be interesting with Persona 6 in that it's important to remember Persona 5 was developed for the PlayStation 3. And so and even Persona 3 Reload came out on PS4. So getting a true current gen Persona game is already a big deal, but the possibility of it coming to Switch pretty immediately is pretty interesting. And I think that's another area that we can look at. Now, I wanted to ask Eugene about, we're already starting to get a lot of different rumors about third-party releases on Switch 2. How do you feel about this being a sign for the continued growth of third-party support and, cross-platform games?
I think it's going to be happening. I think a lot of publishers, especially in the last generation, the last generation or the current generation, it takes forever to make games. But I think, and Bobby Kotick himself literally said, it was a mistake for Activision to just skip the Switch entirely. We left a lot of money on the table.
Wow.
And I think a lot of companies realized that, like, hey, we should have been making games for the Switch the whole time. Look at Square Enix. Square Enix is having a really, really hard time selling Final Fantasy in Japan. What would sell Final Fantasy Japan if it was on Switch? Everyone keeps talking about, like, well, maybe Final Fantasy is not. No, the Asia prefers handheld gaming. That is the preferred platform. They want to hold the machine in their hands and the screen in their hands. That is nice to Asians. I am Asian too. I love that shit.
You get it.
It's built in. It's like genetic. You love handhelds.
It is. It's very. It feels genetic. I don't know how to explain it, but we like video games on the screen that we can hold. And we can touch it. Final Fantasy Remake and Final Fantasy Remake almost did make it to the Switch. So I think Square Enix does see the value in that, and so does Sega too. I think, and Persona 5 did run on the Switch, and it ran very well. I do think Persona 3 Reload actually could run. I know about how Peach runs,
yes.
But Persona 3 Reload is not that high tech, and also if it uses just the same tech as Persona 5, then it can run totally fine. So. Persona 6, of course, is completely different because remember, Persona 5 is a PS3 game. Mm-hmm. It's a really, really old game. So Persona 6 is a completely different matter. And I'm hoping that the Switch 2 is going to be nice and powerful.
I think it will be. I mean, it makes sense for the devs, right, to come over, and it makes for more variety for the Nintendo faithful. So it kind of makes sense for everybody. And listen, give the Switch people their Persona. I mean, the Switch, Nintendo in general, it's so weeb adjacent. Give the Sweebs their anime for Christ's sake. It just makes sense. It's all one world.
Diggin, when are we gonna get you to commit to 100+ hours for a Persona game? Come on,
Persona is my most lamented serious backlog franchise. Like I know I'm gonna love it, and it's just I can't dedicate the time to it. I don't know. I'm only getting older here. I'm not getting any younger. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but I don't know, man. Sometime in my 50s, I guess.
Yeah, just retire early, and you can just play Persona. There's no problem.
I might have to.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I get it though. When Persona 5 Royal came out, it came out at the peak of the pandemic when everyone was at home. It's like, well, this is fantastic because I don't know if I would ever be able to do a replay of this game unless
Wait, did Royal come out at the peak of the pandemic? That's crazy.
I remember because I was playing Animal Crossing, and I was like playing Animal Crossing in the morning, and then for the rest of the day, for like 8 hours a day, other than editing a few shows for Last Stand, I was just playing Royal. So
I love that franchise is so unapologetically demanding of your time. Like that's such a baller move for a franchise to just be like, you're going to dedicate all this time, and its belief in itself, and the fact that you're going to do that and it's that good. I've never heard a bad thing about Persona. Now there might be the people that, are, I don't know, allergic to anime that wouldn't go in for it. But everybody I know plays it adores
Anybody
it.
who's allergic to anime wouldn't even touch Persona. So
Yeah.
so that's why you don't hear a bad thing about it, because you know what you're getting into, what you're getting yourself into when you get it. So.
Absolutely. Very well said.
The biggest Persona naysayers are often Persona fans talking about
because
which games they like the most and least.
like the blah 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 whatever. Because the part of the reason why I haven't finished Persona 5 is because I actually prefer Persona 4. I prefer the cast of characters there. The cast of characters in Persona 5 are having a really really hard time connecting with me. So
interesting.
Yeah,
they each have their pros and cons in terms of like plot, characters, side stories and stuff. But I definitely 5, I like the main characters the least. So I totally agree with you on that, Gene.
right?
There's something wrong with you people. There's something wrong with you people.
Wrong?
I can't believe what I'm hearing
Have
right
you played
now.
4?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And 4 sure was fine. I liked it a lot, but 5 was my favorite cast. The old man running the coffee shop. I love that guy. Every day you go
he's
in,
cool.
Yeah, and he's always surly and he's mad at you. I love that guy. Fantastic. But Ryuji is probably one of my all-time favorite game characters.
I was about to shit on him.
I love him so much.
I don't care about your track team. I don't care. This whole side story is about his track team. Like, bro, compared to Persona 4 side stories with characters, he's a fine character in himself. The story, though, the backstory, I was like, we can do better.
Dude, Dustin, I'm totally with you, man. Like the track team the story always throws me off. I'm like, dude, I hate you, man. I hate your story. I don't care about your track team.
Oh, you guys are ruining this for me. But Persona 4, great waifu choices. I dated Ebihara. She was really mean, and I was like, I'm gonna make this woman like me, and that's what I did. But I mean, Persona 5, when it comes to waifu choices, I mean, like, you got the pick of the litter over there. All right, adults, people your age, whatever you want. You can have any of them.
The doctor, right? In Persona 5.
Oh yeah, the doctor. There's a teacher you can date. I mean, there's a lot going on in Persona 5. Okay,
isn't it Persona 3 Portable? I read this a few weeks ago and I was shocked that if you play as female MC, you can date. Now you're a teenager, but you can date the 12-year-old on the team. I think a little weird.
You have to have. Well, you know what makes it really weird? You have to have max courage in order to date.
It's not a little
10-year-old.
Very weird.
I don't know, guys. It's kind of anime adjacent. You know what the biggest anomaly was for me? Why does Colin not a fan of anime? Right? We know that. Why does he like Persona so much?
Does he? Because he insists on following a guide that tells him exactly what to do every single day. He completely shuns the freedom of, I'm going to be this. I am the high schooler, and I'm going to choose. Do I go to the movies tonight, or do I go to my part-time job? Do I study, or do I do this? And he instead follows a day-by-day guide when he plays these games.
So
he doesn't like it. He doesn't like it.
He's been trying to sell it to me for years. And he wouldn't do that unless I understand he doesn't like it in a conventional sense because he doesn't play the way a normal Persona player would go about it. It does make sense for Colin, though.
So we'll see about Persona 6. Like I said, a long anticipated game that we've been waiting for a very long time. Hopefully some news, though, surely within the next year. All right, guys, let's get to some Quickies here. Quite a few Quickies, but worth mentioning. Good PSA for our audience. First of all, if you buy Princess Peach Showtime coming up, there are some bonuses if you go buy them at specific retailers. Target has a nice little cup. If you want to get that for, sport Peach when you're at the gym, whatever, around the house, they have a cup. Best Buy has an acrylic stand that has, it's like a little Peach figure. Those are super popular in Japan. You can get one at Best Buy. And then last, but certainly not least for the ladies or men out there, Walmart has a Peach hair scrunchie. You get 2 of them when you buy the game from them. So here's the thing. Even if you're not interested in any of these, it's worth going and getting them because it doesn't cost you anything. If you really wanted, you could flip them online. later, because these are usually pretty limited and become collector's items. So I always go out. I have my favorite one was Target for Mario Maker 2 gave you a lunchbox, and it's actually pretty rad.
That's really cool.
Mario Maker 2
Was it a metal lunchbox, Dust?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Wow. That's a biggie.
Some of these are pretty cool. So make sure you go out and get those freebies. Now, this next quickie, Dagan, it comes with a question. This is just a very general PSA because it's something I'm noticing overall, and there's a few specific instances, but there has been a ton of Amiibo restocks recently. I just saw specifically GameStop is going to have a pre-order for some of the older ones, but if you want to get in on some Amiibo, I think this is probably your last chance. If you want to get them new, and even if you want to get them used, actually, now's a great time because some of these ones that were super low print are being printed again. So you'll be able to get them at an affordable price. So
that's super cool.
Yeah.
And very strange. I don't know the rhyme or reason to that. I can't get past GameStop continuing to find a way to stay relevant. How are they still? I don't understand. It's like as soon as you think they're taking their dying breath, it's like, oh, no, we're going to do this now. It's like, holy. And I'm not rooting for their demise. I just feel like they've been bleeding out for so long. It's like, how long is this going to go on? You know? It's strange. Again, it sounds mean to say that, but it's like.
They'll get a big boost from when consoles come out since people need a place to go buy them and pre-order. But so, yeah, if you're looking for Amiibo, I'd say now is do or die on some of these last ones. I'm going to try. One of the ones I don't have is the original Smash line of Luigi. And he became kind of rare. And I was like, I like it, but I have a different Luigi. I'm going to see if I can get it at the Nintendo store this weekend. We'll see. Because I've saw that their lineup is pretty nice.
Oh, yeah. That's the play. Oh, man. Now I'm jealous. I'm going to miss out on that trip. That is a good point. That's the spot.
That's the spot, dude.
That's the spot.
Gotta check it out.
Sales tax, but it's probably worth it.
It actually popped up in my Facebook memories. It was 9 years ago today that I got the Sonic Amiibo, which I no longer have. Lost that in the divorce, you could say. But that it's just funny to see that pop up. Like I just saw that this morning. Oh my goodness! I mean, to have been collecting these for so long is what feels strange.
Yeah.
That's the best Sonic's ever looked. I think that Sonic Amiibo is the design of Sonic that should be the design of Sonic.
It is very proportionally correct. I had this large like Sonic action figure that I got at PAX one year, and the arms were so skinny that he looked malnourished. It was honestly not a very good Sonic figure, but it was just really cool to see one that was just like on that scale. But it was just like, the legs are so skinny, his head is too big. Like everything about this was not a great figure in the end. Yeah, the Amiibo version, much better.
Yeah, very
he just looks great.
For the physical gamers out there, 505 Games has delayed the physical edition of Ayuden Chronicles 100 Heroes. It's now going to be pushed to May 21st, but a PSA to you backers out there that maybe tried to get the physical version is that you will still get your game on release day. They're going to provide you with a digital code, but if you're looking to get the physical edition, you'll need to wait a little longer for that. But nice of them to go and provide the code for those that back the project. Moving on here, Animal Well. I don't know if you guys have seen anything from this game from Shared Memory and Big Mode. Big Mode is Donkey's publishing company. Their first game, Animal Well, coming out on May 9th. And I don't know if you guys have seen footage for this game, but this looks like a Switch OLED game through and through because it has like nice dark backgrounds with bright neon colors. The pixel art looks really good. So I highly recommend giving that one a look.
I have to look this up.
Yeah, it looks super cute. I'm very interested in it. Next one is that Atlas has apologized due to Unicorn Overlord selling out in Japan. 40K physical copies sold on Switch. You can't go and get it. Japan, one of the last bastions of physical games where they don't want it. I mean, some people buy it digitally, but many of them want it physically, and they just simply did not have enough. So good success for that game. last but not least, Penny's Big Breakaway. This is a game we talked about a few weeks ago. Disappointingly was only 30 FPS on Switch, but it's getting a patch soon from, this is what one of the developers said on Twitter, 60 FPS on Switch. So pretty cool that doubling the frame rate on the base platform, the weakest platform, but getting that 60 FPS will be really nice for that game. Guys, let's go ahead and talk about what we are playing. I'm really excited about this section because we got a bunch of interesting stuff to talk about. But let's kick off the conversation with a write-in from GameSimp, who says, "Hey fisticuffs, did any of you try the Princess Peach Showtime demo? If so, what were your thoughts? Personally, I couldn't push through the boredom to finish the demo. Ouch. However, I understand this game isn't made for mid-20s males." Micah, you're not mid-20s. You're not a mid-20s or you're a male. So you can provide a total different experience than GameSimp. Did this game appeal to you as a early 30s female?
No, unfortunately. This is a game I was really looking forward to trying, but it's too simple. It is a game that, in my opinion, playing the demo, it does just feel like it's geared towards a younger audience. It is colorful, it's fun, the music was great, the little fight sequences are entertaining, but it is just so simplistic. And it felt like just one of those kids' adventure games you play where it's like you're going around and just clicking on things, and it wasn't even very puzzly even, which I typically don't love puzzles, but it's a challenge. It's something for your brain to chew on for a minute, right? So no, this is a bit of a disappointment on the one hand because I was looking forward to this game. On the other hand, now I'm definitely not going to pre-order it, except that cup from Target is really cool. I kind of want it, but you can't order a $60 game just to get like a $2 tumbler. But
yeah.
No, I am a little sad because it just hit me as I was playing it like, you're 30 and this game is a bit too young for you. Like I'm not saying it in a negative way by any means, but the game is just simplistic, very easy to play, easy to understand, but it's not what I'm looking for in a game. And I was hoping, because they haven't done like a game all about Peach in so long, that I was really looking forward to this. Because we haven't had like a Peach-centric game. Was it Super Princess Peach? And how old is that now? Like, is that like 20 years old?
2005.
Yeah. So we're approaching 20 years on that, which sounds crazy. So, and I honestly, too, wasn't super impressed with the performance of the demo. Like, the loading times were atrocious. During the loading, it has like the theater, like red curtain is supposed to be kind of like wiggling back and forth on screen. It would just like freeze and like stutter. Mm-hmm. And even the text on the loading screen made me laugh because throughout the game, there's like the stylized lettering, for Peach's name and various things. But then on the loading screen, it was just like plain white text saying like the name of the stage. And it's like, I mean, it was just one of those things that, like, the performance aspect aside, it just wasn't very polished. So this definitely isn't a game I'm going to be buying anymore. And no, I didn't finish the demo either.
Wow.
I gave it a try. I mean, I played through because what's open to you is the sword fighter level, the bakery level. Yeah. I got like partway through the bakery level and I was just sick of it. Like it was the feeling of like what mind numbing truly means. If I was just like, I hate it, and hated it the whole time. And I was like, you just got to keep playing it. You want to see more. And I got to a certain point in the bakery section where I was like, I've seen enough, because I'm definitely not going to buy it at this point. And then I went back to playing something else.
Dagan, I know you wrote here that you played it as well. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I see what Mike is saying. There's a definite lack of polish that I'm rooting for the final version not to be there. Gene will be able to speak to a little bit more about this if he's allowed to yet. But yeah, I think there was even some Japanese in there still. So it was like, obviously, sort of whip, definitely a work in progress. But you know what? I thought it was really cute. I agree with Micah. I almost felt guilty for playing it. It feels so young and so simple. But I was impressed with what I think is going to be like a completely different game inside of each one of those levels. I don't think it's ever going to be the same thing twice, which I can't even remember another game like that. It is sort of simplistic in terms of controls, but I love the idea of that. And, it was like this whole thing, it was a little weird, a little on brand for Nintendo, but you have this like multiplex, but instead of walking into different movie theaters, it's all different stage plays. I was like, all right, this hub world or this lobby is kind of strange, but it's kind of whimsical. I'm kind of digging it. And the levels, as far as fighting and combat and platforming, the ribbon melee beat 'em up stuff, and then the sword fighting, fencing Peach, I thought was pretty fun. Again, very, very easy for somebody who's a 50-year-old gamer that's been playing these games for decades. But I love the new villain. I'm excited for my Grape Amiibo. I'm excited for I guess people out there will be excited for their Stella plushie. But you know what, Micah, it's funny that you didn't get to this part, I don't think, but you know what sold me on the game? I was feeling pretty apathetic until I got to that level of the baking where you have to design the cakes based on the schematic, and you're basically decorating the cakes with the frosting and everything. And I thought that was really, really fun. There was something about that part that hooked me. At that point, I was like, I like this, because I think at that point in the demo, I realized that every one of these levels, there's going to be a different sort of role-playing aspect where, it's going to be Peach dresses a different thing. So you have Peach cosplaying, which is really cute. But I love that it's going to be completely different each time. It's like however many games, there's going to be a dozen different games inside this thing. So I think it's worth exploring. I am going to buy it. I think right now, based on the demo, I would say it's not founded to charge full price for it. Maybe it would be kind of a no-brainer at $39.99, a $40 price point. I'm still going to go in for it just because it's mainline Nintendo, and I kind of feel like it's my job to really circle the wagons. But I think if I didn't get to that cake decorating part, I might have felt a little differently. But that part, for whatever reason, gave me hope. I like the boss fights. I like everything like that. But I think it's just a little too easy. I think kids are going to really dig it. But for the adult gamer, especially the 50-year-old gamer, it's like, but I'm going to see it through.
Yeah, it's tough for me in that Nintendo, there are games that you realize you're like, yeah, this isn't really made for me. And that's okay. And that's how I felt about Princess Peach. At the same time, I was thinking, well, a lot of Nintendo games are designed to just be for anybody at any age. And this game doesn't quite have that. And so I don't know. I'm kind of mixed between wanting to knock it for that, but at the same time, it's like, I get it. It's cool.
All I'll say is that you guys played the demo. So.
Oh, I was going to say, Gene, intimately familiar with Peach roleplay, but can't speak on it today.
The only thing I'll say is that people also, if you play the first two levels of Kirby, you'll say Kirby is for kids too. But when you actually finish a Kirby game, you won't say that anymore. So.
Oh, I like this hope.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it, Gene.
Because Kirby games because literally Kirby the boss battles in Kirby Forgotten Land were sometimes harder than Elden Ring. So you can't make a single mistake, otherwise it's over.
Yeah,
I'm not joking. Like this is not a joke. Like the Kirby challenges are extremely hard. So I'm wondering whether the Peach game will have that too. Very, very easy to get into the door. But there'll be challenges later on that are for the veteran players, right?
Sure.
So Nintendo still might do that.
Yeah, so it might be yeah. You know what makes me the cake decorating bit? It was timed, and I could see those sequences, whatever the challenge is going to be on a certain level, it's going to get more harsh. Do you guys remember them showing in any of the trailer or teaser content a Space Girl Peach? Because I was really excited to see that. We joked around about a Zero Suit Peach, but I liked having this Barbarella Peach with the jetpack and sort of the anime girl bunny ears and stuff. The kind of, I guess it's kind of like a mashup between superhero and Space Girl Peach.
Yeah.
Not a sexy Barbarella Peach. That would have been pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Could have
Oh.
zhuzhed it up a little bit. Nintendo.
Game's not out yet, so
That's true.
Mhm.
This could
Anything's-
be, yeah. This
It's
This could
showtime.
be beta.
yeah.
Yeah. What were the jobs in the demo? So it was cake girl, pastry chef.
Yeah.
And
Right.
sword fighter.
And sword fighter.
Just those two?
fencing.
Okay. Well, yeah. Then yeah, those would be the simplest ones. So
Okay. And you
Okay.
could see the ninja level and one other level are inaccessible before even going to the other floors.
mhm.
But they were locked
Mhm.
in the demo.
All I'll say is that yeah, it does like those levels are definitely like the baby levels. So
Okay.
I'm excited. Now I have hope.
yeah.
We're gonna jump around a little bit here because I have a question for Micah, but Dagan, let's go ahead and stick with you here for remake or Final Fantasy VII remake and Prince of Persia.
Yeah, sure. So Colin and I, gosh, man, I guess we're only a week out from doing our Final Fantasy VII remake and integrate episode for Knockback. I got a lot of work to do. I'm getting a little nervous. So I won't talk about that yet, but I'm enjoying it. And eventually, of course, the hope is to get to Rebirth. But again, it's me, so I'm far out. But we'll talk about that more in a week or so, we think. And then, Prince of Persia. I'll tell you what happened with that. I said in our show document, I'm playing Prince of Persia by way of Contra Operation Galuga, and that's because I gave up on Contra because I really didn't like it. I mentioned it briefly on I think our past episode, but there's just something about that game where the 2.5D, the sort of zhuzhed up effects and everything feels so forced and contrived, and I just wanted a more pure old school Contra
I
experience.
heard it wasn't good. Yeah.
I just think they concentrated too much on that. The animation's not great. I saw a friend of mine put on LinkedIn that he was one of the lead animators on it, and I felt bad because I've been talking shit on the animation. I was like, oh, Jay, sorry, dude. But the animation's not. The animation's just, it's kind of wanting a little bit. So I had started Prince of Persia before Contra came out. So Contra just drove me back to Prince of Persia because I wanted a kind of a nicer combat platforming beat 'em up thing. And I think Prince of Persia just does it better. And they happen to come out around the same time-ish. And Prince of Persia has those Metroidvania aspects too. So a little exploration, a little reward for looking around and finding extra stuff. And I just think the Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown is a really fun game. I'm really enjoying it. So Contra drove me back into the arms of Prince of Persia. And that's what I'm having fun with in a low pressure way while I stress out about being able to get through Final Fantasy VII and really trying to circle the wagons with Final Fantasy VII to do everything plus the Yuffie side, DLC and everything.
Yeah.
So I got a lot. I got my hands full right now, but I'm having fun.
I've been trying to
Nice.
get to Prince of Persia. I feel guilty for not
Oh,
playing.
I think
that.
you're gonna like it, Gene.
Yeah. Well, one, I have it, and I played a little bit of it, and I really enjoy it. But I just haven't had time. But also, two, I actually got the pleasure of getting to meet Jordan Mechner, the original creator of Prince of Persia.
That's so cool.
'Cause he's currently currently at GDC, but he's also going to give a talk about like making Karateka and Prince of Persia. Digging, he'd be such a fascinating person to meet for you because
I would love that.
because he was doing rotoscope animation for Prince of Persia back then, and
So cool.
and like he was out here in DC and he was going to meet his sister and he was like, oh yeah, my sister, she was the princess in Prince of Persia.
Oh, that's so cool.
So I mean that's incredible, to just.
I'm not
record
even
it.
thinking about the legacy aspects of that game and just kind of its old school roots and everything. That's another important thing is that's a really cool touchstone for older gamers, where it comes from this, it's born out of a franchise that's storied.
Mhm. So for my story, I actually interviewed Neil Druckmann. He's like, yeah, there is no The Last of Us without Jordan Mechner.
Wow. That's
there's
pretty
no
cool.
There's no Uncharted without him. So
That's incredible.
yeah,
And that's a good point.
Prince of Persia. It's where it all began.
Yeah. I've never played a Prince of Persia game, so I might need to change that.
Yeah, it's highly recommend. This is a really good
It's a
entry.
game that Uncharted is directly from. It's the first Uncharted game.
Micah, let's go to you here. I have a write-in specifically for you from Dylan Michael. who says, "What's up, everyone? I'd like to thank Micah for tweeting about Unicorn Overlord, convincing me to try the demo. 8 hours later, and I'm addicted. Haven't felt this way about a strategy game since Fire Emblem Awakening." Micah, who are you making? Is this Alan?
Oh, Elaine.
Elaine Romance. I can't read. As for me, I'm going full Game of Thrones and going to make him fuck his cousin.
Oh.
Goodness. So yeah, tell us about the the cousin fucking going on in Unicorn Overlord, Micah.
I don't know nothing about that. No, I am completely hooked on this game. It is just fantastic. As we mentioned on the previous episode, the demo, I played it and I was like, this is absolutely for me. I'm all in. And now that the game's actually out, it is just so addicting is the word for it. I had never played one of these type of games where it's like, the real-time strategy style of your characters actually walking from point to point on the map. And I just love it. I just love seeing them, trot across the map and get in the little battles. The game lets you, speed up the battles. So you can choose to watch the gorgeous animations if you want to for every single battle, or you can skip through them. There's pros and cons to that, because if you lose a battle and you skipped the animation, you might miss like what went wrong, for example. But this is a great, in my opinion, a great example of a game that it's as difficult as you want to make it. Aside from selecting the difficulty in the game, you can choose, how much you want to get invested in the various, skill trees and, mechanics and everything. Like, this is a game that you can make it a lot easier if you spend the time really optimizing all of your units in terms of who you place where. Or you can, if you want a little bit more of a challenge without upping the actual difficulty level, you can sort of play like more organically, I guess you could say, and just kind of put people in your units a little more willy-nilly. I really haven't needed a guide so far for this game. It has a lot of like challenge to it, but it's really understandable in the way that it's played, and I'm just loving it. When it comes to romance, though, honestly, I haven't even thought about it. And usually in these type of games, I'm all about that, like Fire Emblem, for example. But I had like totally forgot that you could even, have relationships. And like my unit, for example, with the main character is just all dudes. And so he's not romancing any of these people. We're all best friends. We're all really good friends. But I probably should mix up some of these units so that I can actually like earn those rapport points, maybe with a woman of my choosing. And I think you're also supposed to give gifts to people, of which I have many gifts in my inventory, and just I'm so obsessed with the battles, I have completely forgotten to like go have a meal, go give a gift. It's a little less for those aspects, it's a little less straightforward than Fire Emblem, because it really just gives you no direction of like, hey, maybe go have a meal. It kind of is just like, it's a complete free for all. Like, do whatever you want whenever you want. You can go unlock a bunch of stuff on the map, or you can go and do like the main story quests in order. I'm sort of locked into doing just unlocking everything on the map. I just keep going around and fighting random battles, going to different forts to liberate them. And I left the main story quest for a while, so now I'm kind of over leveled for it, and I need to get back into that. But when it comes to some of the extras like romance and things like that, it's a little easy to forget that it's even in the game, and that's something I need to pay more attention to. But yeah, I highly recommend it. Give it a try. Check out the demo for sure if you're, on the fence about it. But this is a game that I am totally hooked on, and so far, I'm going to call this my game of the year because it's just phenomenal.
Nice. And you'll be on Summon Sign in the coming... we're recording in advance, so I don't know when it's coming out, but you will be on there to talk super in-depth about it.
Yeah, we're going to get way more into it. Still, avoiding any spoilers. But yeah, if this is a game that you want to hear even more about, these were just the cliff notes, okay? Like that.
Yeah.
This wasn't, my real review of Unicorn Overlord. This is just a tribute. So we're definitely going to get really like more into the weeds with it on Summon Sign.
It sounds incredible to me. I haven't played a strategy RPG since maybe Final Fantasy Tactics. I mean, when is that? Late 97 or something? I'm really, I can't believe the praise this game's getting, but it does. It sounds friggin' amazing.
Yeah, it's really great. I haven't felt this way about a game probably since Triangle Strategy, which when that came out, that was my game of the year that year. So I really do have quite a soft spot in my heart for strategy RPGs. And this one, it's just top notch. And I really do it's a gorgeous game anyways, but I mean, if you're into jiggle physics, they got them for everything. You get not, and I don't just mean the ladies. All right, you got a guy with a big belly, it's jiggling. Everything about this game is wobbly like some Jello pudding.
Equal opportunity jiggle is important. You don't want to ostracize anybody.
Exactly.
As for me, I'm still playing Rebirth. I've talked about it for the last few weeks now, so I don't have much more to say. But Gene, I had something to tell you. And maybe you heard this through the grapevine, but last episode, and someone left a great comment that I mentioned on Sacred, I'd said that I hadn't played Chrono Trigger. And they said in the comment that your face looked like I insulted your entire bloodline.
You did, yeah.
And so I'm going to start this on the way to New York. I don't know if you guys can see on my Steam Deck.
He's doing it.
I've got Chrono Trigger ready to go. So this will be my travel game for New York, and then I'll be able to go full time on it once I'm done with Rebirth, which I'm getting pretty close, I believe, to the end of Rebirth. But just want to let you know, I'm going to try to right some wrongs that I've committed with starting with Chrono Trigger. So
you're gonna love it,
Gene. I don't know. Is there anything that you want to? Are you able to talk about anything? I know that's a big pre-release time.
Yeah. Sadly, I'm not able to talk. I have to keep talking around it, and unfortunately, it comes out one day before I can talk about it. So there's that. But I have, and I talked about this on Summon Sign with Brad too. But I have played the ever living shit out of Dragon Quest XI on the Nintendo Switch, which is the best version. And they re-released it on PC and PlayStation, right? Those first on the Nintendo. Dragon Quest XI. Have any of you guys played a Dragon Quest before?
I know how much people loved it, but I never played.
Yeah,
I played a lot of 11, but I didn't finish it.
You started 11, but you didn't finish it. Yeah,
no. Holly's put over 100 hours into 11. She's the real gamer.
Okay, she's done some real damage. She must be real late game then. Okay, if not, pretty much done with the game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she beat it. She almost got all the achievements on Xbox because she was playing on Game Pass.
Wow.
Oh, dude. Then she totally completed it.
That's
She's
impressive.
a maniac. Then that is maniacal.
Yeah.
To get a perfect achievement or platinum Dragon Quest XI is crazy because you have to do so much shit in that game. The amount. So Dagan, this is another 100-hour game, and you know me, I don't really do like a lot of side quests. I've only done maybe 12 side quests in Dragon Quest XI, and my final hour count is 90 hours.
Holy shit.
It is a meaty game. It has a lot of story in it. It's a wonderful game that I basically describe as an anime show where it's very seasonal. You know, you go to one town and then there's a problem there, and then there's a whole cast of characters there, and you figure out the issue there, and then it ends, and then it feels like the end of an episode. And then the game has an incredible 3-act structure, where you know that the great thing that JRPGs do in that it would change the world state, right? Like Final Fantasy VI, right? Or even Zelda: The Dark World, right? Dragon Quest XI does that in very, very interesting ways. And remember, this is mostly the same creative team as Chrono Trigger. You know, Akira Toriyama obviously with the character designer, but Yuji Horii is the writer of Chrono Trigger.
So cool.
And if you play Chrono Trigger and you play Dragon Quest XI, you can tell definitely this is definitely the same writer. He has the same flair for plot twists and everything like that too. So yeah, I finished Dragon Quest XI. I was actually halfway done with it, and then Toriyama died, and I was like, I should just finish the game, and I finished it. I absolutely loved it. It is, even after a game as fantastic as Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I can still look at Dragon Quest XI, and I'm gonna be like, that is a tremendous game. I don't know which one is better, because the fascinating thing about Rebirth is how it was able to make combat synergy work so well with the party makeup. But that exists in Dragon Quest XI too. But I already talked so much about Dragon Quest XI Summon Sign, so I don't want to take out too much time here. I am on a Dragon Quest streak though, so I did purchase physical copies of Dragon Quest Builders and Dragon Quest Builders 2. So I'm really looking forward to those because I never really got into Minecraft. I was too old for Minecraft, right? Minecraft is, just go around and play stuff and make stuff, right? I tried Minecraft and I was like, I need a little bit more direction than this. Dragon Quest Builders gives you that direction, and I was really intrigued by the concept of Dragon Quest Builders 1. And I guess I'll drop a spoiler alert for Dragon Quest 1, the very first JRPG of all time from 1986. But you do actually get a choice at the end of Dragon Quest 1 whether to join the Shadow Lord or the Dragon Lord or to reject him, right? And then, of course, you reject him and then you actually beat the game, right? And if you don't, the cool thing is that if you do accept it, the game actually crashes. The game will actually crash. Wait,
I forgot about this.
Someone's knocking on my door. Hold on a second.
Someone's knocking on Gene's door.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Hopefully he survives.
The FBI. They heard him spoil the game, and they're like,
it's Square Enix.
Yeah.
Get out here.
Dragon Quest Builders. I tried to get my son was a huge Minecraft kid, so I tried to sell him on Dragon Quest Builders and DQB2, and they're both still in the shrink wrap. It was like
really?
Just completely uninterested.
Dang.
Yeah, my kids look at anime. My daughter read manga for a while. My son looks at anime and just runs the other way. It's something so strange. He has like he's just like he has like something with anime. It's like repels him. It's like really weird.
Yeah, I own Dragon Quest Builders 2, but I haven't played it yet. I got it during Target a while ago. I had, buy two, get one free promotion on Switch games. And so that was the game I felt like, okay, this is a safe choice to have as my free game in case I don't love it. I'll tell myself this was the freebie, essentially. I think Dragon Quest 8 on 3DS was gifted to me. I haven't played it yet, though. I have all these like dreams of playing some of these games on 3DS though that I haven't gotten to yet. Like it was last year or the year before I tried to get into Radiant Historia. Perfect Chronology. It was like the updated edition of it for 3DS. And I didn't love it, but I do want to try that one again as well. So this is reminding me that even still going back to 3DS because I have, all physical games, I still have things I need to get back to.
Gene, are you okay?
No,
you came back and then you left again. I heard like a voice come through.
Yeah. That's the maintenance guys. They're changing the filter on the AC. So
nice. Okay,
like he wasn't spoiling anything. He wasn't talking. Was it Nintendo Secret Police? Like he wasn't talking about.
Dragon Quest 1. So Dragon Quest Builders continue the story. Well, what if the hero accepted the Shadow Lord's hand in evil, right? And then so Dragon Quest Builders is like you're rebuilding the world that the hero fucked up, which is an awesome concept, So I'm really looking forward to that.
That's so cool. I love hearing that Dragon Quest 11 has that Chrono Trigger flavor, and I always loved those character designs, like the main party character designs from afar, of course, because I never played. But everybody, that's like your favorite gamer's favorite game. Like everybody who's like a bona fide gamer loves that fucking game. So there's gotta be, I think Colin feels the same way about Dragon Quest 11.
Yeah. Right? I don't know who played Dragon Quest 11, but I know he loves Dragon Quest.
I'm missing
out. He's obsessed with 11.
He is.
He's obsessed with 11? Oh, shit.
I can't remember if he got the platinum or if he just tried to get it. But it was one of those very much like when he was playing like Wild Arms 3. And I was like, I think you should stop playing this now. It was that feeling of watching him go for all those trophies of like, I think we should stop now. It doesn't look like you're having fun anymore.
That's the thing about like chasing the Dragon Quest 11 platinum. And I totally get it because I'm actually like I have every single like best weapon and best armor, and not only the best armor and best weapon for each party member, but like the +3 version of the best armor and the best weapon, the legendary weapons. And I'm just like trying to complete all the challenges, and like that is crazy. And yeah, at a certain point, it doesn't look like you're having fun anymore. You're just kind of like just staring at the screen and just furrowing your eyebrows. Okay, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, like. But like it becomes an obsession though. Yeah. Oh, Colin and I should talk about Dragon Quest 11. Maybe we'll have a knockback.
Oh,
Yeah, absolutely.
But
Should.
honestly, Micah and Dagan, you will love the. I feel like both of you, actually, all three of you will love it too. Micah with your JRPG, love like it's just the perfect JRPG. And then Colin will help you, basically. And Dagan, you're right. Like, it really is like the gamer's game.
Yeah.
It's the one that it's when I play it, I'm like even. I'm reminded how much steals from Dragon Quest, like even Dark Souls. The whole trick of showing you a door that you can't open at the very beginning of the game, and then you realize, 100 hours later, I have the means to open the door now.
Love that.
And then you go all the way back to the very beginning of the game, and you open a door, and then you open a treasure chest, and it has something fucking sick in it. And that is exactly what Elden Ring and Dark Souls does. And it's like, oh yeah, that's right. They learned that from Dragon Quest.
Yeah.
It's where it started.
Dagan, I'm going to do something a little unorthodox.
Okay.
And we meant to have this last episode, but I was talking to you guys beforehand that I totally jumped around the dock and missed it last episode. But I want you to read this write-in. I didn't really know where else to put it, but I felt like the effort was there. And so this is something directed at you. So I'd love for you to read it.
Sure.
And tell me what you think about this write-in.
Okay. Let me bring this up on my show notes because I don't have that open. You guys got to give me a sec.
Sorry, I should have prepared you that I wanted.
That's
I feel
okay.
like because
No
of what
worries.
it is, we have to have you read it. It's so on brand for you, Dave.
I mean, I was honored. This is. I know where you're going with this. This was our friend Brady who wrote in. Now I got to get to it. Okay, here it is. And Brady wrote a poem promoting Smash Brothers and taking exception to why I don't like it. So Brady VM says to us, a case for why Smash Brothers should be Dagan's favorite game of all time, written in verse, of course. So when we saw this, and I got this from Brady, I was honored. And I figured, you know what? This fan, this dedicated listener, took the time to write a poem, so I could answer this the only way I know how. I have to answer your poem, Brady, with my own poem. But of course, let me read your poem first. So Brady says, step up to the battlefield or to final destination. 86 characters. Can you feel the temptation? Each of them icons. Save the 7 from Fire Emblem. Animations and gameplay. Homage where we fell for them. It's the most accessible fighter. The input's all the same. Easy to play, hard to master is the name of this game. Casual player is known as a masher. It takes patience and practice to be a true smasher. Made by an auteur hell-bent on quality, our beloved Sakurai-san, the mechanics have proven impeccable since Melee in 2001. You're an animator, a fighting game fan, a grown-up little kid. Look deeper into Smash. You'll be glad that you did. And then Brady says, I'm a competitive Smash Brothers player. Okay, so you're a little biased, Brady. So if you have questions or want someone to walk you through some basic mechanics, I'd be happy to help. I can train you to wreck the rest of the Last Stand crew in no time. Shots fired. And then Brady says, love you guys, Brady VM. Brady, very honored that you wrote something, and I have an answer for you here. Mine starts, Dear Brady, my sincere apologies for the Smash Brothers hate. I do agree in theory that these games should be great. The whole Nintendo universe converging to fight seems like a pretty easy thing to get right. I know I've said this before, but I'll say it again. When a fireball is thrown, you've got to throw it like Ken. Capcom controls, baby. That's where it's at. A gaming rite of passage. It's as simple as that. I can only play fighters the way Capcom intended, though I know you Smash fans tend to get very offended. Plus, one closing question. It's a point you can't discard. If playing Smash is so easy, then why the hell is it so hard? Love, Dagan.
Wow. Dagan, I always think of it at Colin and Micah's wedding when you were going up to give your best man speech, and I thought, I almost said it out loud. I'm like, wouldn't it be funny if he did it in verse? That'd be so Dagon. And then you did. And it was one of my favorite moments maybe ever. But
thank you, dude. I appreciate it. My daughter was quoted as saying that was one of the cringiest things she's ever seen in her entire life.
dude, no.
Oh, it's so my daughter. But thank you. That kind of washes out the negative teenager in my life's comments.
Dagon, as a illustrator and clearly a poet, I think we need to get you to make like, what about a Last Stand children's book written like Dr. Seuss written and illustrated by Dagon Moriarty? I think
now we're talking. I love it.
That could be something. We
got to get the guy upstairs. Not God, our guy.
I was like, God?
The other guy upstairs.
Jesus.
The way Micah said that too reminded me of Zoolander. God.
Dagon,
we're hitting it with all the relevant references today. We got Bobby's World, Zoolander.
Oh yeah.
We're killing it.
All the great references, yeah. Bobby's World, man. Holy shit, dude. I totally forgot that existed, man. I can't believe you guys remember that.
It's good shit.
Oh, good.
Dagon, let's stick with you. And I know you have a segment prepared for us, so take it away.
Yeah, so we talked about this a little bit already, but I thought this would be fun. I'm excited to hear Illumination and Nintendo are teaming up. Obviously, we kind of knew, but now we know they're teaming up for the Super Mario Brothers movie sequel. And we talked a little bit about not necessarily what we think it might be, but also what we want to see in a perfect world for the return of Mario. And when we diced it up earlier in the show, I think we had some good theories, and I think some of them are going to be pretty close to what happens. But I thought it would be fun just in thinking about new characters that could appear, right? I want you guys to each do a little bit of casting. Now, we talked about, obviously, the end credit sequence of the original movie. I don't want to spoil anything in case anybody hasn't seen it, but it talks to certainly a new character appearing. So I was just thinking, could we say Bowser Jr., Rosalina, Daisy, Waluigi, Mario, Yoshi? Maybe, I don't know why I think it's okay, because I'm not a big multiverse guy, but I don't know why I think it's okay for Kirby to show up. I just do. I just think Kirby should. I don't think Samus should show up. Not so sure about Pit or the other ones, but I don't know why. I just think it's appropriate for Kirby to make a little cameo appearance. And you guys don't have to go through everybody, but give me a character you would like to see, or a few characters, or all the characters. And who do you think would be an appropriate voice actor for that character? So you could say Rosa or Daisy, whoever you want, maybe the characters you're rooting to see most, and then just who would be a good voice, a VO accompaniment for that character. Dust, I'll start with you. Who do you want to see pop up, and who would be an appropriate voice?
This totally just, I don't know if this is good, but this is the first thing that came to mind for Baby Bowser. I want Tim Robinson from I Think You Should Leave. Specifically, I'm thinking of the voice he does. He does like this like voice that's kind of like low and under his breath. I'm thinking of the one, I actually have Holly got me this for Christmas, when he's on the zip line, and when he's like at the end, he's like, "Aw, dang it, come on," like that. Him doing that voice as Baby Bowser. I think we could be on to something.
Wow, that you know what? That's actually inspired casting. Holy shit.
Good shit.
Inspired casting.
Wow. That actually does kind of sound like Baby Bowser, actually. A little bit.
I think it could work.
That's wild.
That's such a good idea that I think that could ruin it for Nintendo's gonna be like, shit, now they're gonna think we stole it from this Nintendo podcaster. I think that's a solid enough idea to actually make it not go that way now.
It's also like a really, really funny casting that is completely in line with like Jack Black as Bowser and Keegan-Michael Keyes as fucking Toad, you know?
Yeah. Pretty brilliant. Yeah, it's right in line with that.
Yeah.
Michael, what do you think? What are your thoughts about the casting for the next 2026 sequel?
First idea that comes to mind, Kevin Hart as King Boo. I love King Boo. It's one of my all-time favorite Mario characters. Also, the Lego set, the King Boo in the Lego set that's coming out next year is hysterical. He's just a big old block with a little crown on his head. It's adorable, and that's what's got King Boo on my brain. And I feel like they're gonna go sassy with it. If they have, is he in the first movie? Is he in that already? But
he actually was in the first movie. King Boo.
He is.
Yeah.
Oh, is he voiced, or is he just there?
I don't think he was voiced, but he
Perfect.
he's definitely a presence in the movie though.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Oh, perfect. So we get Kevin Hart for that because I feel like, now is that what I want? No, but I feel like you go sassy with it. I feel like you're gonna get like The Rock or something for it. But I feel like they're gonna go that direction with it. They're not going to go with Steve Harvey, which I think would be the best choice. But I think they're going to go maybe Kevin Hart, that he's got to be in it somewhere. He's got to be in that movie in some way. Maybe Jamie Foxx. That could also work.
Love that.
So that's what I'd like to see.
Well done. I kind of like all these ideas. I mean, these are all really, like these things could really play out. I feel like you guys should be working for Illumination. Doing the voice direction. I mean, could be a good gig for you guys. Gene, you got to bring up the rear, my friend. What are your thoughts on the voice casting for the next one, or characters you want to see pop up, all that?
These are so good. I'm going to have a really shitty one, but here's my joke casting. Reznor, the rhinoceros enemy from Super Mario World specifically, voiced by Trent Reznor.
Whoa.
Meta.
I just want to see Reznor as Reznor on the credits, and that'll be worth it for me.
I just want to see him pop up in the voice of a Mario game.
Yeah, exactly. He always does these amazing soundtracks, with Atticus Finch,
True.
So he's been busy, our boy at 9 Inch Nails.
9 Inch Nails cross Nintendo is something I need to see.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's a huge gamer, if you don't know, right?
I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No, I never knew that.
He's so huge that he contributed. He was the audio engineer for Quake.
Oh no, I never knew this. That's pretty.
That's why in Quake, the nail gun, the ammo boxes are 9 Inch Nails.
What?
Oh,
Mhm.
You pick up boxes of 9 Inch Nails to shoot out nails at the Quake demons. And he always used to say that I would be releasing more music if I was in gaming all the time.
I wonder now, you got me thinking, was the Rhino character from World named after Trent?
It might be. I mean, he has a huge arcade basement at his house.
Holy shit!
All these arcade machines, classic arcade machines, and he was also one of the first Twitter users, and his Twitter profile picture was just a video game.
That's so cool.
Trent Reznor is one of the original massive celebrity gamers.
Dude, when you hear there's a celebrity gamer and you're like, oh, okay, it doesn't really.
Yeah, no. Trent was the real
That's
deal.
cool.
He was super hardcore. He was I want to work in games. He was please let me work on Quake.
That's so neat.
He was I love Doom so much, and which is amazing because that's I used to just listen to Downward Spiral and play Quake all the time. Just a perfect mix of
that fits
of artistic synergy.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, Trent Reznor, he's not from Butler, but he's from the county next to us, from Newcastle.
No kidding.
So I've met people that went to high school with him.
That's cool.
And I remember, I think my mom told me this, that there was once that he was sighted at the mall, the Clearview Mall in Butler, Pennsylvania at one point. And it was whoa, it was Trent Reznor at the mall. So a little bit he's not.
I didn't know he was a PA guy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did not know that. I never actually thought about where he came from. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's super cool. Well, you guys did awesome. Do you guys have any parting shots, any closing thoughts on the prospective female voices? Who would be a good Daisy? Who would be a good Rosalina? Wasn't sure. I thought if we're going to why don't we do something really off-brand and wacky, can Christopher Walken voice Yoshi? That would be,
whoa.
It's I don't know. There's just something really weird. It's either going to work or it's going to be glaringly terrible. But what about for the girl? I don't know why I keep thinking Melissa McCarthy for one of the new princesses that might pop up. But who else would be, who would be, who plays Barbie? I'm sorry.
Oh, Margot Robbie.
She seems like very now. Now, you got to project 2 years, but if that movie was coming out this year, you would have to think Margot Robbie would be in the mix somewhere. But what am I missing? I don't know. You guys are really good at this.
See, this is where I realize I'm so out of touch because you're like, name a female actress. I'm like, Anna Kendrick. Extremely relevant right now. She could be Daisy. But I think I just pictured someone with brown hair and I was like, yeah, that's Daisy. Yeah, that could be her.
That's not a bad thought though. That would really work. Who's the other from White Lotus? She's like popping up everywhere right now. You see her on the red carpet.
The old blonde lady.
What is her? No, is she a Bond lady now?
I'm picturing Jennifer Coolidge, I believe, who's the older woman, and she's in all those Discover commercials.
She's fantastic. I love
Jennifer
her.
Coolidge would be
I know her
hilarious in
from
a Mario
Christopher
movie
Guest
for whatever reason. Yeah,
she's the other one, the younger, hotter one. That's
I've never
in
seen
White
it.
Lotus. What is her name? I'm blanking on it right now, but she's
Sydney
literally
Sweeney.
Sweeney.
Yeah.
She might pop up.
She's in White Lotus too. Holy shit, man!
She is.
Sure. I mean, she could be. What is it, Bowsette? What was the sexy Bowser thing on Twitter from a few years ago?
Oh yeah,
Bowsette.
Bowsette.
Never be
Yeah.
that. Yeah, she can be that. There we go. Now we got that. That's all squared away for the movie.
Actually, she looks,
another one
she
for the
looks a lot
dads.
like Rosalina. Actually,
She does.
she could actually pull off a Rosalina, at least looks wise.
And it would be stunt casting, getting somebody now, somebody very, very hot. I'm not saying physically hot. I'm saying
The entire Twitter timeline has just been either Sydney Sweeney tits or Tifa tits. That's the entire timeline. It's either that or Stellar Blade ass. Oh my god.
Yeah.
People are
Twitter do be horny.
I know. Look,
not sometimes,
I know
all
I'm
the
horny,
time.
guys, but I feel like I'm this is a little overwhelming, honestly.
See, my Twitter is mostly cute animal accounts. And then I follow a lot of artists who just do very cute things. Like I follow one girl who just draws all frogs all the time.
Oh, wow.
So what other people's experience on Twitter is so vastly different from mine, because mine is all like frogs and just cute cats doing things. And then everyone else is just like, it's all boobs and butts 24/7. And I like my version of Twitter. I'm happy over here.
I don't mind. Yeah, that's very I like that. It's clean cut.
Meanwhile, all my tweets are pussy in bio replies, because
Oh my, those kill me though, because it'll be like charity for a child who lost a leg, and it'll be like pussy in bio. Like those kill me.
Why can't you guys just meet in the middle? Just have a little bit of both, a little bit of the purity, a little bit of the what do you call it?
The schmut.
The perversion.
Perversion.
Something. I don't know.
Well, thank you for playing, guys. Listen, if the podcasting doesn't work out, you guys could definitely subcontract as voice direction. I wouldn't even say directors. I'll say gurus. You guys are really good at this.
Whoa.
We've done this once before and you impressed me. I don't know how many episodes ago, but yeah, maybe we'll continue this tradition every so often and check in with you guys on this. You got talent. So well done.
Eventually, we'll need to cast the Zelda live action movie, and that will take it up a notch since it'll be live action. So that'll be
tough.
That'll be tough. But
you guys are up to the task, I think, though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, Matt Damon as Link. Easy peasy.
Yeah.
All right. Mark Wahlberg is Ganon. Done.
Everybody's
We're
going to have a Boston accent.
Everyone's also going to be like 50 years old.
It'll be like Borderlands, just all older people.
We don't talk
it's fine.
about that. No.
You've gone too far.
All right, let's get into some of these ending questions here. I picked this one. This one's for Dagan and Gene. I thought this was interesting. This comes from Nikitas Gygas. It says, greetings, my succulent and phallic eggplant wizards. Goodness. This one is mainly for Dagan and Gene. As men in your 40s, do you ever feel guilt or question your affinity for the whimsical and fantastical? Someone who's in the 40s to 50s bracket, I do not know anyone around my age who plays games that I play, especially the more niche ones, who play Japanese video games, who love Japanese video game art, animation, etc. Many would say I suffer from Peter Pan syndrome. That is even a thing. If that is even a thing, should it have a stigma attached to it?
It's a thing.
Or should having the ability to feel and think youthfully be embraced? As always, thank you for your time and your unrivaled content. Stay well. And I said this question's geared for you guys, but I'm, Micah and I are starting to get in the same boat here where I was thinking, I'm like, man, I've got this giant amiibo shelf. When I go to the dentist, I think, do I want to wear my Last Guardian shirt, stuff like that? And, I'm not embarrassed, but I do think about these things. And so I'm just curious what you guys think as far as this Peter Pan syndrome, as the four of us total adults here on a Nintendo podcast. How do you feel about it?
When I found out, I could tell you, first of all, you have to go listen to Knockback because the theme Knockback is built around is pretty much Peter Pan syndrome. I mean, that's the whole conceit in the fabric of the show. When I found out Peter Pan syndrome was like a real thing, let's say in my early 20s, I don't remember ever feeling so relieved in my entire life that, oh no, this is a thing. Like there are people that are just so intrinsically tied to wanting to still do all the things that are childlike, that it's not just me. I remember having that feeling of like a sigh of relief, like, oh my God, this is not just me, even though it is kind of a sickness in a way. All jokes aside though, yeah, Peter Pan syndrome. Certainly the Princess Peach Showtime trailer was a reminder of that. It's like, what you have that moment of like, even though you're enjoying it, it's like, what am I doing right now? Honestly. And yeah, in my 40s, by the way, I wish I'm 50. So what's my excuse? But seriously, all jokes aside, you just got to do what makes you happy. Like I say this all the time, half jokingly, but I'm kind of not joking. I think there are people that just were intended to be better kids than they are adults. And I just would have rather stayed a kid than become an adult. I'm okay. I'm an okay adult. I try to be a good husband, try to be a good dad, all that kind of thing. But I feel like I wasn't made to be an adult. I feel like it just inevitably happens for some people. You have to. I can't. What am I going to do? I can't buck the trend. It's inevitable. I'm gonna grow up, right? But do you have to grow up? I don't know. Physically, yes. Mentally, and in all the trappings of life, not really. So yeah, I would say, you know what I mean? You gotta do you. I come from an era where I feel like even 20 years ago, I would be embarrassed to read manga or a comic book on the train on my commute. But I feel like it's generally a more accepting era now, even a couple of decades later. But, even at that time, let's say in the late 90s or early aughts, when I was commuting early on in my career and I was playing, my Game Boy Advance SP, or I was reading a comic book and I would be like worried that somebody was looking at me like, who's this adult being immature? But you know what I mean? That's what I want to do. I didn't want to read a newspaper. You know what I mean? I wanted to play Mario, whatever I was playing, Superstar Saga, whatever, with the volume up a little bit. So I was kind of annoying everybody because I forgot my earbuds or whatever. But yeah, man, you gotta do you. Gene, am I on the right path with this or what?
Yeah, man. I also am wary about Peter Pan syndrome. I know that's something that they talk a lot about in Japan. I think that's something even Hayao Miyazaki has even referred to. And anime and manga just caters too much to youthful interests, and it just makes especially men just kind of just not really mature mentally. And then you see guys who have like the waifu body pillows and everything like that. And I'm not saying that that's like an epidemic and anything like that, but guys like that do exist, right?
I have some, but I'm discreet about it. You don't know. I don't talk about it usually.
Dustin's just being quiet.
I mean, we all know that Colin has the framed Catherine body pillow.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
Because he thought,
I'll
put this in the living room. And
much to Micah's chagrin.
I mean, if I have to keep my DBZ stuff in my office, like if this isn't allowed in the living room, Catherine's not allowed in the living room, and that was the compromise. It's like if I can't put Raditz downstairs on full display, then she's not going down there.
I really like the gameplay, though. It's funny.
Oh God,
Go ahead, Micah.
I was just gonna say that game terrified me. Which my beef with the game isn't anything to do with Catherine. It's that the sheep people are
It's
terrifying.
creepy.
And
Yeah,
I hate
it's
it.
creepy.
I hate thinking about it. I just don't like to think about
That's
it.
his
Yeah.
other one, Catherine.
It's funny because I actually played Catherine with one of my ex-girlfriends, and she was like, "Is that you? Is that you in the game too? You know, you just going to different bars and just talking to girls named Catherine. You know, because I was really enjoying the game too. So, but to great question. You know, I think that a lot of people probably do think that about me, but I think they're afraid to say that to me because they know that I am. It's harder to say to me because I am a fairly well-rounded person who has like a lot of interests and who has like done a lot of things. I always try to remind people that I haven't been a game journalist for very long. I'm not, people at DICE were telling me like, "Gee, you've been around in the industry for forever," and I'm like, "No, I actually haven't at all." Again, I bought my Switch several months later, not at launch. Because I didn't used to buy games at launch. I didn't used to buy consoles at launch. This is a new thing. The PS5 is the first PlayStation I ever bought at launch. I've never bought a PlayStation at launch before. So what was I talking about? But yeah, you're absolutely right, though, Dagan. Especially after, for me, I'm in my 40s. I almost died, having cancer, and for me, that has altered my perspective to who gives a fuck what other people think about what I do, and what I do with my time. Time is so precious. I'm happy just playing video games and watching anime and thinking about who would be the better waifu, Tifu or Aerith, then just fucking leave me alone, man. I'm having a good time and I'm enjoying the time that I have, and that's all you can do in life, enjoy the time that you have,
Absolutely, dude. And you said it too, like Gene, like not only honoring the things you like, no matter what they are, but even if it's those so-called air quotes childlike things, like keeping that in the mix. Like you're a responsible adult, you have a job, you have a career, you pay your rent. Like you have other maybe more quote unquote adult interests in the mix. But if you like those things, if you like anime and manga and you want to go to the comic book stores on Wednesday and see what's new on the shelf, and you like collecting vinyl toys and amiibos and playing video games, like that's your genuine interest, then wear your heart on your sleeve. You know what I mean?
And here's the thing. Like I feel like I pay my dues in being a not gamer, I see people say, "Oh, I wasted my 20s." That's something that I can never say. I definitely took full freaking advantage of my 20s. I was a 20-something-year-old to the max. I was out clubbing, I was out dancing, I was out dating, I was doing all kinds of stuff.
I love that.
So I don't feel guilty about spending my lazier years sitting on a couch and playing video games. Because what do you want me to do? Be out of the club right now as a 42-year-old, bro? That was one thing when I was at the clubs. Even when I was like 31 and at the club, I was like, dude, I don't want to do this much longer. Because then I would see my friends, and like my friends would be like 40 or 50 years old, and they're like, dude, they were married and they're still going out to clubs. I'm like, what an unhappy situation that you guys are in. You guys are. They have fake names because they don't want to, they don't want their names to be around so their wives don't catch wind of what they're doing. I don't want to do that. I'd rather be playing video games. That sounds like a miserable life.
Yeah. Gene, I think you hit the nail on the head in that there's a difference between being an immature adult that doesn't take responsibility and just sits around and plays games or watches anime, and having it be your primary hobby and going out and being an adult where it really matters, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Having a job, taking care of the people that you love, having a social life, stuff like that. I think if you've got the main things that are important in life down, then it's like you said, who gives a fuck about how you spend your free time and what you enjoy? It's silly to gate yourself off to something you love because of an age, So I don't, Micah, did you have anything you wanted to add to this? Because I know you were saying I always loved your Dragon Ball Z figures front and center. I wish my figures, they're kind of far in the background here.
I wish I had figures. Yeah.
No, I just completely agree that there is a line between being irresponsible and just embracing still having childlike, wonder and just being able to indulge in these things as an adult. As a kid, I could not afford, cool action figures and stuff like that. Couldn't afford video games really at all. So my interest in gaming as an adult is catching up on things and not missing out anymore. There are way too many games from when I was a kid that I would love to get to at some point that I just completely missed. And so the idea now is that I don't want to miss out on anything. And so just trying to play as much as I can, because those were just a ton of years that I feel like, man, I wish I could have played Hamtaro Ham Hearts like my friends were in 5th grade, but I couldn't afford it. I think I did buy that game though, and I think I do have it now. That was one of those impulse purchases of childhood Micah was still sad she never got a copy, so I had to just buy one from DK Oldies.
I love that.
But no, I'm all about collecting my things. It's funny though, because part of being an adult, I'm thinking in my head, like, if we ever have a kid, this is going to be their bedroom. And I'm like, I'm just going to have to box up all my shit and put it somewhere else, basically, right? But I'm all about this life and collecting things. And it's just one of those, if it brings you joy and you're not going bankrupt over it, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And anything wrong with just having hobbies we still enjoy. We totally have a culture of everything needs to be a side hustle. Everything needs to make money or be productive. And it's okay to have hobbies and interests that don't generate anything. I also love to read. And reading is great for your brain and vocabulary and all that, but you don't actually get a tangible thing from reading. But no one poo-poos reading. No one really says like, oh, reading's a waste of time. But when they say it about video games,
Oh my God,
as if
dude.
there's no brain benefit to puzzles or reading, all that dialogue, I feel like when it comes to things like that, it's like, no, there's definitely a benefit here. There's also just a benefit to relaxation in today's world, especially. And if this is your preferred way to relax by putting on, Princess Peach Showtime and shutting off your brain for a bit, there's nothing wrong with that.
Micah just reminded me of the like 5-day discourse that the Oppenheimer composer started because when he won the Oscar for best score, he said, "I'd like to thank my parents for giving me drum machines and pianos instead of video games." And then everyone just got so mad about that.
It's as if you can't like both things.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, it is an annoying thing to say. Like to Micah's point, like if you said that like about books, then what would you say? But then also to be fair, you can actually learn things from books, and it's a little harder to learn things from a video game, But I don't know, like that's an annoying thing. Have you guys seen that? Did you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
That's the worst thing about Twitter. It's just like it was just like 5 days of talking about this fucking guy and the one thing he said during the Oscars. It's just like, fuck it. I hate discourse so much right now.
Yeah,
like,
there's no new. I mean, I immediately thought when I heard that whole debacle, I was like, what does Uematsu think of this?
Yeah.
One of the greatest composers of all time. He works in video games, right? It's like,
yeah.
There's
but
no nuance.
also he's talking about like, you gave me something to learn with, you gave me tools to apply with, as opposed to play things,
Right.
And you can interpret it as that, and his English is not perfect too, so he just said it that way,
Yeah, I mean, that was he didn't mean it as an affront to gaming and all that kind of. Yeah,
I'm sure he didn't. So it's just
no, he meant it. He meant it because he was sick of all the jokes of people saying it's Oppen time. He was sick of that, and he was like, I can't stand you people.
Barbenheimer, yeah.
Barbenheimer. Yeah, Colin was actually watching like some PBS documentary about Oppenheimer. And I keep saying, when's he going to say it's Oppen time? And he's not like
he's watching a documentary on Oppenheimer, but he won't watch the Oppenheimer movie.
Well, I mean, I didn't want to see the movie because it's too long. So I was waiting for it to be on like home video release because I was like, I can't go to a theater.
Yeah, exactly. So it's at home now, and he's still not home.
Yeah, we might watch it. I don't know, but so we just keep saying it's Oppen time, and then I just started saying it's Morbin time, and that's completely unrelated to the documentary. And I think he started watching it without me. I think he watched the next segment when I was in the shower, so I couldn't bother him.
Dang.
Oh, he's probably watching it to like prepare himself for the movie or something. It's like playing Final Fantasy 1 before playing Final Fantasy 2. Like watch some Oppenheimer documentary.
Kind of
Yeah, he's got
to earn his way to watch Oppenheimer.
Yeah, you can't be a fake Oppenheimer fan. You got to make sure you have the full context for the film.
Gotta take the classic trajectory. Micah, it's so important. I mean, I love what you said about just having the resources and sort of the adult dispensable income. That's important too. A lot of people have to wait for that, and then I still feel I did okay as a kid. I wasn't spoiled rotten, but I got a lot of things. But the things I missed out on when you get to an adult, and I think if you have those nerdy propensities, I think then you're like, oh, I want to go back and get the die-cast Voltron. My parents wouldn't shell out $100 for that in 1984. And I always felt deprived, so it's like you just naturally go back to those things. And I think that's normal.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, it's disheartening when I see comments regarding to like Micah hasn't played any of the classics. And a lot of it, though, is like I got a Game Boy Advance when I was in 5th grade because it was on sale at Toys R Us. For the life of the system, I got 3 games for it because that's all we could afford. My mom, we did not have money for video games, and me getting to play N64 at a friend's house, but they only wanted to play the party games with us, which was fun. But it's like, well, yeah, we're playing Mario Kart because there's a bunch of us here and it's a game 4 people can play at a time and you take turns in batches. But like, I didn't get to play a lot of the older games because we didn't have money for it.
Yeah.
My parents were not gamers. So it's not like I had a dad who was playing Nintendo himself and I got to watch. It's like we played Road Rash on PC. That was fun. Dad liked that one a lot. But otherwise, these weren't things we could afford and they weren't things I had access to outside my home, really.
Yeah.
So, and there's just too much to catch up on. I mean, when people list all the classics that they expect me to have played by now, and it's like, Christ, but I'm playing Unicorn Overlord, and that's new and fresh.
What do you want me to do?
When am I supposed to go back and play all of this?
Yeah,
it's usually...
I'll calm down on the comments on stuff like that. They're expected, and every podcast there's always someone like that because the Micah situation is normal. There's a lot of people that grew up with not a lot of access. One of my good friends, Wooly, who is a huge a YouTube and Twitch creator, right? And a pro Street Fighter player. But he's a pro Street Fighter player because he didn't play like any other games because, he grew up in a house with 8 cousins. Wow. And then so if you grew up in a house with that many kids, you're not going to play the latest Final Fantasy, by bogarting the Super Nintendo. You're going to play Street Fighter because that's the best way to pass a controller around between all those kids. So Wooly would grow up and he was like, yeah, I never played Final Fantasy. And then people are like, whoa, you never played Final Fantasy? It's like, yeah, well, what are you gonna do? Question my gaming cred? Like, no. So
yeah.
Just try to be more considerate of to the listeners out there. Try to be more considerate of people's situations. These games are fucking long, man.
It's always
I still haven't finished Persona 5. Come at me for that.
Yeah. It's always the comment, wait, you haven't played the game I like the best? How could you? And obviously we joke around like Chrono Trigger earlier. That's different.
Yeah, like Chrono Trigger and Dustin killing my family or whatever,
Yeah.
But it's not that deep though. I'm not going to be like, well, Dustin hasn't played the classics though, so what does he know about JRPGs,
Right.
Yeah, and you know what? I doubt any of those people commenting have played 7th Dragon 3, Code VFD,
there you go,
the greatest 3DS game of all time.
Yeah,
I doubt any of them have played that weird-ass game, but it's my favorite.
You got the deep cuts, my friend.
Yes.
Take that.
Yeah, speak on it.
Guys, I got one last question for you for this episode from John Baptist, who says, hey, gang, Wii U and 3DS servers are signing off, taking our Mario Maker levels to the digital beyond. It's a bummer losing these pieces of our gaming hearts. Any ideas on how we can keep the magic alive post-shutdown? Catch you in the next level, John Baptist, and he says, see y'all at Sacred 300. So yeah, this is unfortunate. We're losing all of these levels from Mario Maker 1, which I would argue in some ways is better than Mario Maker 2. I always thought that the one thing the Wii U gamepad had was, I thought making levels on that was really awesome. And the amiibo support was really cool too, with all the different costumes. And it's sad to see it go. I wonder if Nintendo doesn't care, but if they did care a little bit, it would be cool to get like a best of collection. Like take the top 500 levels and make it so there's an update that's like, this was the best of the best. But I don't know. This is one of those things with digital games. And I mean, this game's still going to exist, but so much of it was that core online functionality. So, Dig, do you think that people should just move over to Mario Maker 2, or is this a big loss here?
Wait, can I talk about a news story real quick about
Of
Yeah,
course.
please.
Mario Maker? If you guys don't know, there is a community of Mario Maker players called Team 0%. And they were
Yeah.
Read about
Yeah.
them.
And they were trying to basically clear every level in Mario Maker ever made. And there was one level that no one had ever cleared. And they were trying to do that yesterday to hit the deadline before the server shut down.
And they did it, right? I think they did
They
do
did
it.
do it.
Yeah.
I think they
Nice.
did.
God, to be a completionist of I mean, it's sad because it's the end of an era. I know Mario Maker 2, but Mario Maker 1, like that community was so hungry and enthusiastic because it was new. So that era was really special. I wonder how it would work from the standpoint of Nintendo, like putting together a collection. Would they have to like buy the levels from people outright for a small price? Like, how does that work rights wise? And you could see Nintendo not going in for something like that, wanting to steer clear of something like that for, I don't know, even though it's their game, it's somebody's creation within their game. So that would get into some very interesting legal areas. And they don't really care, but maybe it's going to be a type of thing where eventually, sure, it's not on the top of their radar at the moment, but they'll do like a Mario 35 thing. Well, they'll bring it back in some capacity and reintroduce it vis-a-vis some new touches to modernize it a bit. Who knows? But it's sad when the whole thing, like any era, ends because, you're talking about an era where my kids were little, especially for me, with the Wii U and the DS, which is really what they cut their teeth on as not just as gamers, but as Nintendo gamers, but as gamers in general. So it's kind of sad,
Yeah, it's unfortunate just to see. I don't know. I'm trying to remember if there's like any kind of level transfer situation to Mario Maker 2. I'm not sure if there was, but it's sad to see these levels go, and it just sucks because Nintendo is, leaving the Wii U eShop and the 3DS eShop just fade away. So, and the servers specifically, I think those eShops have been down for a while, but seeing these servers go away sucks. So I'm glad to see, though, that someone went in, made sure that these levels got their last respect and getting them all completed. It's pretty crazy.
I guess
It's
this isn't
awful,
a
though.
time
I-
to really go in for emulation, right? Like Nintendo's
Yeah.
way too...
It's awful, man. It just makes me reminds me that Nintendo is just a terrible stewards of their own history.
They can be.
Because their option, their preferred option is to release Luigi's Mansion 2 HD at $60, which and if you know me, I'm not the kind of person to complain about price, especially for re-releases. I was defending The Last of Us remaster, but Luigi's Mansion 2 was a $40 game. Come on, guys. A remaster, sure, it was still a $40 game.
Yes, but now it's in HD. Gene,
It's
HD.
Gene.
Yeah, it should still be $40.
They
I
seem
don't know.
to still
I mean,
go in for the Disney Vault model, whatever the video
$50
game.
at the most. $50 at the most.
Yeah, 50 would be
Yeah.
topped out, I feel
Yeah.
like. But they seem to content themselves with that. Like, let something vanish into relative obscurity, then we'll reintroduce it. It seems, I don't even know if it's an intentional rhythm or just not having the resources to manage everything at once, or having the potential resources, but not dedicating the resources to something. It would be nice to see them consistently shepherding their IP, their vintage IP, and things as they kind of trickle down to being
Mhm.
obsolete. and just sort of being a little better at reintroducing things or keeping things relevant. I don't know. I'm not sure how that would work because I know it would be complicated.
Yeah,
but
especially since they're
Gene.
coming out with like a museum in Japan and everything like that, you know.
Right,
So
that's right.
They clearly care about their history, but they don't care about us having it.
Yes, access. Yeah, you're right.
That's the issue. Like Nintendo, God, I love you, man, but this is definitely the biggest crawl that I have with the company, you know.
I think that about does it for this week's episode. We got a crammed day, Micah. I think you're going back to back recording today, right?
Oh my goodness, yeah, go take a break.
Oh, actually, no. So no, we did move that.
Oh,
So I don't have anything else to do today. Originally, I did.
Dope.
But what I do need to do though is actually go to the UPS store, preparation for the
Oh,
live
yeah.
show.
Yeah.
Ship some stuff upstate. So that's going to be the rest of my day, running some errands as we get prepared for our trip.
nice. Yeah, I'm going. I have a haircut in 40 minutes after this. Got to look, got to get that fresh cut
Mhm.
for Sacred 300. But, Gene, what's the rest of your day look like?
Meetings and finishing my review for Princess Peach Showtime. So
Nice.
Whoa.
Cool. So look forward to that over on the Washington Post.
WashingtonPost.com.
Yeah,
Please
when the time
subscribe.
comes.
If you got any money left over from subscribing to Patreon, of course.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Dag, what about you? What's in the life of the Dagster?
That's a relatively mundane day for me. Did you guys hear Nintendo just cut a supposed deal with Showtime to do a Princess Peach Showtime TV series?
Whoa.
No, I made that. I totally made that up. I just think the branding is there. Why not just come on, it's called Princess Peach Showtime. It's not called Princess Peach Home Box Office, right? It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's
They do a remake of Showgirls with Princess Peach,
Oh, no.
Rosalina, Daisy.
That's
All
the
right.
cosplay we've been waiting for.
Cool.
You know
Well,
what?
I'm sure you
had
can
this.
find that on the
Justin, you
internet.
brought this up.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you brought this up because I wanted to touch on this and see what you guys thought of this idea I had. Okay. With the passing of Akira Toriyama, we've been discussing it over the past couple of weeks on the shows. So I don't mean to beat a dead horse, but it's a tribute. It's a well-deserved tribute, right? With Chrono Trigger. Now, Nintendo's been very reticent to put Chrono Trigger on Nintendo Switch Online. We understand that. I'm thinking with the passing of Toriyama, is this the moment that Square Enix and Nintendo finally makes it available for people to play? But I say, now I know Dust is playing it on Steam and on the Steam Deck, and you guys could play it there too. But maybe we make a pact, the four of us, that if Chrono Trigger is released on the Switch, we play it for the show. Now, we don't have to play it in the course of 2 weeks. We could play it over the course of many months and just finally arrive at doing either a special episode or an episode dedicated largely to Chrono Trigger. But what do you guys think of that plan? That if this happens, we all sit down and play it together.
I'm down.
Oh, yeah.
I
Okay,
think
let's do
that
it.
if they've done the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters. And so they have this Steam version
Could be
ready
coming.
to port over. So I'd imagine that it will happen at some point. But yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, what better moment with Toriyama's passing, right? As a proper tribute, All right,
Oh,
so
yeah.
we'll make a pact. If that happens, if we could play it via Nintendo, we'll do it.
Cool.
Yeah,
All right,
and
love it.
if we're all single when the game comes out, we'll all get married to each other
Whoa.
and then play it.
If we're okay, I like it. It's perfect.
Yeah. I think there's not a 0% chance of that happening. So
No.
yeah, well, it's something to consider. But that's it for this week's Punching Up. Thank you guys for joining me as always. I really appreciate it. I had a really good time talking with you guys. And thank you to our audience for your write-ins, for your love, for your support, whether it's on free feeds or on Patreon. It's all very important to us and means the world. We'll be back in just a short amount of time for the next episode. And we'll see some of you in person at Sacred 300. We're looking forward to that as well. But until next time, we'll see you guys later. Punching Up, a Nintendo podcast, is a product of Last Stand Media and Collins Last Stand LLC, and is proudly recorded in the USA. The show is written and produced by me, Dustin Furman. My co-hosts are Gene Park, Dagan Moriarty, and Micah Watson. The show is edited by associate producer Ben Smith. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. Punching Up, along with the rest of Last Stand Media shows, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer level on Patreon, our highest tier, and we're grateful for your kind contributions and generosity to our independent endeavor. Thank you.